On this episode of DC On Screen, Jason Momoa has some stuff to say about the Ray Fisher Justice League investigation, and by that I mean he stands by Ray, as we and Kiersey Clemons do. We're also talking about the latest Wonder Woman 1984 delay, and all the hubbub over the Flash restarting the timeline amidst a pervading mood of meh surrounding FanDome Day 2. Find out what we would have done differently with FanDome. Find out what we hope they do next year. What we thought of James Gunn letting Kevin Feige onto a DC set. And how we answer all sorts of burning questions from you, our devout listeners. It is a thick, marinated good time. And it starts right after this random mystery ad.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger. Because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Welcome into DC On Screen episode 613. This is the podcast where we talk about the DC Comics multiverse on film and television, give honest opinions on projects upcoming and past, and believe that every version of a property is valid, even if we don't want it to be. If it's been released, it is fair game, so beware of spoilers, and welcome to the show. I'm David C. Robertson, and this, the man who wants to drink urine from the flaccid dick of a drunken old prospector, Jason Goss. What was that sound supposed to be?
What happened before the reconstructive surgery?
Oh, God. Oh, that's terrible.
It was a bad time.
It sounds bad.
Cost me a lot. Everything I learned, everything I earned in that coal mine, or whatever mine you just said I was in.
I didn't say you were in a coal
everything
mine.
I earned.
I said you were drinking piss from the flaccid dick of a drunken old prospector.
Oh, okay, prospector. Yeah, I was thinking panhandling of some kind. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
These were hard times. My teeth's made of woods.
Oh, God. We have a lot to get to. So thank you, Patreon supporters. You're awesome. And if you would like to help support the show in a monetary fashion, $1 a month gets you the normal show ad-free. That's not bad. And the $5 a month gets you
I'm
that.
Why laughing? It's fine.
I feel so stupid always saying this.
Yeah. Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
$5 a month though gets you the extra content, the extra shows, Jason's pull list, a warm up, or chasing squirrels whenever we feel squirrely enough to put it up, and and you'll be helping us out a whole lot.
Absolutely.
So, yeah,
whatever else there may be.
Yep,
Suggestions, welcome.
Sporadic, weird stuff. I just, 2 weeks ago, put up a compilation of the old Wonder Woman voicemails with a new introduction and outro from the Wonder Women, Ermeline and Myrtle. So, again, those people are not us.
Mm-hmm.
No idea where that's coming from. It's just we put out a call and hope that, I don't know, she hears it on whoever's old Victrola. I can't remember the name of the person that they say. But Cletus, maybe?
I think maybe. I just like the reference to the Victrola.
Well, I'm pretty sure Cletus is 3 foot tall and has a club foot. That's the thing right there. All right.
There's a Jack Russell next to him, I'm sure.
Yeah, probably.
Oh.
And that wasn't necessary.
So clear you can hear the sound of your master's voice. I think that used to be a tagline.
Wow. So we're going to start the show this week with a little segment I call WBT, because we spilling it, y'all. Like some of this we already had. And
or
then,
WB the fuck?
Okay, first of all, let me say, we are going to talk about FanDome stuff, because they had day 2 of FanDome. So we're going to talk about that, because that was just on Saturday, but we had a little bit of this, and then right before we recorded, I got a message, I had already had everything prepped. The show was prepped. I ran to Walmart, and I come back. I'm about to hop in the shower, and I get a text message or a Facebook message from Scott over at the DC Film Squadcast. And he's sending me all this information. It says Merry Christmas. And his tweets from Jason Momoa, or Instagram posts from Jason Momoa, and tweets from Ray Fisher. Now, to be fair, I'm not derelict in my duties. I would have done another final sweep, and did do, but before I did the show. But it was, I'm like, damn it, I take 2 hours out to go to Walmart. And all the shit hits the fan. So thank you, Scott, for sending me that. It always is, it's fine when I find it myself, but it's just so fun to get stuff from him.
Sure. with a tagline that's pretty much, good luck, guys. Thanks.
Yeah. So anyway.
We're going to go play Frisbee in this minefield. Whee!
I mean, it's not a minefield to me. It's not. I mean, it's pretty obvious what's going on.
Oh, well, the obviousness, sure. The reaction. Oh.
Man, Ray Fisher. He said, he put out a tweet a little while ago. And he says, to date, the independent, quote unquote, independent firm hired by WB Pictures has conveniently avoided contacting key witnesses who gave damning statements to WBHR. They've also started interviews with and have since ghosted witnesses that have implicated former and current top-level executives. Others, including an implicated individual that called me to apologize, have already been interviewed. We will not let any investigator cherry-pick interviewees that best suit WB Pictures' false narrative and scapegoating efforts. All with stories will be heard. Now, look, man, I know a lot of people are still out there going, Ray Fisher's just mad that, they made him say booyah. Y'all, that ain't what's happening. I'm telling you.
No, this is very different.
Quit saying that shit with your name attached to it, because you're going to look like an asshole.
Yeah, I don't think that's going to age well.
It's not. It's going to be bad for you. I promise. Yeah. Even in this episode, if you just heard that and said, screw Ray Fisher, that's not true. Just wait.
If you're saying that, by the time you've heard this, just pause. Head back to the internet. There's already some stuff that's out there.
Yeah. Now
Take a look.
We've got
head back.
Kiersey Clemons.
Welcome back.
Kiersey Clemons, who was cast by Ray. Was it Ray Famuyiwa? Is that his name? I can't remember his name. I don't know why I can't remember his name.
That sounds really familiar, but I don't know.
Famuyiwa was the guy who was directing the Flash movie. Originally.
Yeah. God, it's been so long.
I want to say his name is not Ray, though. Rick Famuyiwa. Rick Famuyiwa.
There you go.
Yeah, he did Dope. Yeah. So,
okay.
Rick Famuyiwa.
It's been, 3 years now?
It's been a while. Because no, it's been more than 3 years, because Rick Famuyiwa was supposed to be having the Flash out in 2018. The solo Flash. He cast Kiersey Clemons for Iris West. And so anyway, she was in Zack Snyder's Justice League and was cut from the theatrical. And she posted a picture of herself from the Snyder Cut trailer where she's on the ground and says, hashtag I stand with Ray Fisher. So there's another person out there saying, hey, this shit went down. And now this from Jason Momoa today, just like, good Lord, right before we casted. This shit has to stop and needs to be looked at. Ray Fisher and everyone else who experienced what happened under the watch of WB Pictures needs proper investigation. I just think it's fucked up that people released a fake Frosty announcement. Remember, guys, the Frosty the Snowman, how they Deadline. So we can call that into question now. Deadline reported a Warner Brothers story or an announcement that Jason Momoa was going to be voicing Frosty the Snowman in a Jeff Johns and John Berg production. And they announced this like an hour after Ray Fisher's initial tweet, like way back. All right. So Jason Momoa is saying this. He says, they released a fake Frosty announcement without my permission to try to distract from Ray Fisher speaking up about the shitty way we were treated, not Ray, but we were treated on Justice League reshoots. Serious stuff went down. It needs to be investigated, and people need to be held accountable. Hashtag I stand with Ray Fisher. That's powerful. That's more than him posting the picture of Ray with the I Heart Zack Snyder and saying I stand with Zack Snyder. I stand with Ray Fisher. This is just him saying, no, this shit was bad. It happened against all of us. Bad things happened, and we need to get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, this is effectively go fuck yourself. With a giant, like, extra entree, not a la carte, extra entree helping of when the depositions come, we know who will call me.
Yeah. Ray Fisher says, if you still think Jason playing Frosty was ever a real thing, please wake up. Hopefully now people see the depths that some are willing to go to hide the truth. To think they believed my brother would sell out the cast and crew of Justice League for a corncob pipe and a button nose.
That's funnily written. Good job.
It is. And, I posted a link to this over on Stranded Panda, our buddies over at the Stranded Panda Network, and posted it on our Facebook page. And we got a nice little comment from Matthew West Fox from Superhero Ethics. And he says, I'm going to write a longer comment about this sometime this week, but I just wanted to say I am so impressed by your coverage of this topic, and it reminds me of what the very best of fan content can look like. Thanks, man.
Hell yeah, thanks.
That's really nice. But seriously, guys, like,
we're trying to do our best with a fucked up situation.
Absolutely.
It really is. Like, we don't know who to root for sometimes. Like, some days are just depressing to look at the news, frankly. But yeah. Shit.
But there are people out there who who now think that we're just Zack Snyder and Ray Fisher fanboys who are hating on Jeff Johns. No, go back, 6-7 episodes, a little bit more probably now at this point. But we were in the camp. Some say to our detriment, we're slow to jump on the Jeff Johns hate bandwagon. But
some say too quick.
Yeah, some say too quick. We want receipts, and to me, receipts have been shown.
Yeah, there's no middle ground where you're winning everyone on that. But for my money, we came slow, but we got to the right place eventually.
It does. Hopefully. Sounds horrible.
Shut your face. Shut your whore face.
Now look, I continue to see this narrative being crafted by, even in the light of this stuff, I continue to see people who are, very much in the Jeff Johns camp who are saying, well, he understands the characters and, he should be doing everything he can to get his version of the characters on screen. Or, Ray Fisher, I keep seeing this too. Ray Fisher is being shitty.
For a variety of reasons.
He's ruined the Snyder Cut for us. Everyone was united. No one has no one in the DC fandom has ever been united about anything. Like, in fact,
even calling it DC, some people point out that it's redundant, like A-Team Machine.
Right. And
from square one, day one. No, we weren't all on the same page. I'm sorry.
And that is not necessarily a dig on DC either. It's just that DC Comics has been around for over 80 years. And anything that has
so many stuff that's been around for longer.
Right. And every company, every set of IPs, that has been around for nearly a century is going to have so many different factions of fandom who prefer certain things that you're never going to have a united fandom. It's just not going to happen.
If we've learned anything over the last 5 years, it's that.
And look, man, I'm not saying that Jeff Johns is not a good writer. We just gave Stargirl a glowing review, even though we think Jeff Johns is a piece of shit now.
Yeah, dude. Three Jokers was great.
It sucks it's great.
I don't even like thinking that at this point, but it was pretty fucking great. And I enjoyed reading it.
Yeah, it makes me feel bad to think I want to read that.
Yeah, it's Look, it's putting its all in some fucked up positions.
Yes, it has.
Like some of the people producing, executing, spending the fucking money are turns out, pile of shit. It's something we kind of all know to some extent. We're just getting more specific about it now. Mm-hmm. And with Jeff Johns, yeah, man, I mean, shit, yeah, he knows the characters. And I say that with heavy quotations. Because anyone's definition of knowing the character really just means this is the version of the character that I am willing to validate. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he knows many versions of a character. Look, if you go with just DC IQ, Jeff Johns is pretty fucking high.
And you know
Dude
what?
Knows the universe.
You know, he has a lot of that IQ because he created so much of it.
Some of it's just straight whole cloth, yeah. And it stuck because it was, let's face it, a lot of it pretty good. Mm-hmm. There's going to have to be some version of separation of artist and material that we all just eventually have to cope with. I'm learning this as I go.
Yeah.
You know, we've discussed this in the last few weeks. Like, there's eventually just going to be a version of like, look, I don't know about the guy, but this is pretty good. We can, you know, we can appreciate the fact that this is good, or mm-hmm. you know, shit on the fact that it's bad. The same way, like a more ethereal version, Grant Morrison. I love the guy. He's also a bit of a quack. I mean, the dude performs sorcery to fight Alan Moore's Snake God.
I love that they both think that the other one's a fake.
It's one of my favorite parts of this battle.
Like Alan Moore and Grant Morrison are just sitting around talking about how the other one's a charlatan.
Yes. I don't know what to do with that. And could Grant and I have a beer? Probably. I think he'd probably be able to drink me out of the table. He's got the genealogy for it.
Well, you have a diploma in parapsychology now. So.
Yeah, we can investigate this.
Right.
No, I don't. I actually don't have a diploma in investigation of the paranormal. I need to get that.
Oh, okay.
To further my education.
Fair enough.
But
you gotta get that copy of Tobin's Spirit Guide, man.
I'm not getting that. That's bullshit. Point is, like, Grant, he's as a guy, he's probably a bloke I'd love to spend some time with. Is my point. Mm-hmm. Now, is he a bit odd to me? For sure. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what to do with the actual witchcraft part of his personality. I would be a little bit lost for words. He's said before that he this was in his book Supergods, that he had, I think, that he had written a song with John Lennon because he had, in kind of the medium seance format, kind of found him and found his spirit and written a song with him. I want to hear that song. Of course, sure. I want to hear that song. Sounds great. I know he's a big Beatles fan. Best case scenario, he actually did, I guess. Worst case scenario, he just wrote a song that sounded like something Lennon might have written.
Yeah, I think that's probably the one that happened.
Either way, I kind of want to hear it, hang out, talk about it, chill, learn the song, right. Play with him, whatever.
Right.
But, as a writer, separating the guy who's clearly interesting but has some, spikes to him, some stuff that's like, I don't know what to do with that. His writing, that separately even. Some of that is just groundbreaking. The Kevin Smith thing about adds new spokes to the wheel, like some stuff that we'll never forget because we shouldn't. And some stuff that's just, I don't know what to do with that. We should push it under a rug.
There was a great bit where, like, if you recall on Fat Man on Batman, Grant Morrison, like, blew Kevin Smith's mind by saying that Alan Moore's Killing Joke was supposed to be outside of the continuity because Batman kills the Joker at the end because Joker's laughing, and then Batman's laughing. And then
the laughter stops.
And then you see him like thrust forward with his hands around what appears to be around Joker's neck, and then the laughter stops.
Yeah.
And Kevin Smith was like, holy shit, he did. He killed the Joker. All right. And then, like, I think sometime later, Alan Moore refuted that. And he was like, no, he didn't kill him. And I can't help but wonder, like, did he really not kill him, Alan? Or did you just hear that Grant said it and you were like, no.
Fuck that guy. I will defy him because of my snake god. Or because of the fact that I think he's an equal and opposite kind of writer in some ways and I just want to be arbitrary. I don't know. God, I don't know. I would love to have some time to figure that shit out. To sit those two in a room together with, I guess, a series of tranquilizer darts would be a dream. Mm-hmm. Basically, I'd be House on Serious Earths, but with those two.
Did you ever see Tim Daly's YouTube show, The Daily Show, where he had that great bit where he was pretending to be Superman in his bedroom, and his son gets worried and calls Nathan Fillion, and Nathan Fillion was like, "I've got this. Let me go." He's like, "Whatever you hear, don't go in the room." And he goes in the room, and then the son keeps hearing like whooshing noises and weird. He opens the door, and it's just like both of them spread out on the bed like they're flying.
Yes.
That's what I imagine it would be if you put Alan Moore and Grant Morrison in a room together. But except instead of pretending to be flying, they're pretending to be Doctor Strange, and they're just like doing weird hand symbols at each other and going whoosh, whoosh, you know.
It's
I unlock the seal of the blah, you know.
You know what's really fucked up is I'm actually going to defend him a little bit and say like it's not that simple.
I'm sure.
I'm
sure they've concocted several
what they're purporting to do
complicated things.
Is more ritualistic and has to do with very different spaces entirely. Mm-hmm. Like I don't think they would be able to have like a Doctor Strange battle.
Oh no!
Much as I would love to see it.
No, I don't think they are able to.
You're right. Bad phrasing. I don't think even if we saw them try to, it would appear that way. In their version of events, it would be more like, you know, go fuck yourself. Go fuck yourself. And then they would just wander into different rooms and perform something.
Yeah.
And
one of them is quietly stripping the hair off of a rabbit's foot. And
something like that, yeah. The
other one's stroking a scaled ring that represents his snake god, and it's a whole thing.
I don't know what amount of money I would be prepared to spend to see a lot of things, but to see those two battle it off in a primordial magical battle, I don't know the number on that. I would spend a lot of money.
Yeah,
just bottom line, lots of money.
I would
for the ability to go ask questions later. Oh, so much more money.
I would much rather just say, how about this, guys? Instead of you doing your little spells, you guys have a good old-fashioned write-off. Now, quick, write your best Superman stories.
I'm imagining them at this point both looking at you and saying, go fuck yourself. We already did that. You know what? You're right. My bad. Sorry. I'll see myself out.
Yeah.
Good.
You're right. In which case,
sorry,
I proclaim...
I forgot both of you are on the Mount Rushmore of DC, and that's my bad. That's really my bad. I'm just going to go delete all of my accounts. Thank you very much.
Oh, no accounts deleted. I'm saying, yes, you're right. You're absolutely, completely correct. Mm-hmm. I declare myself the winner. I have all of your works at home. I will now go read them.
Yeah. And become stronger than both of you.
Oh, Lord. Anyway, so on the FanDome, they had like desktop and phone wallpapers that were available. Uh-huh. And on the Snyder Cut ones, it said Justice League Director's Cut. So some are surmising that may have been the first official reveal of the official title of the Snyder Cut. Though I've seen a couple of different ones now that purport to be official.
Yeah, I think it's more just a lot of misguided
we don't know
execution.
Yet. I feel like they would have announced it, though.
That's kind of what I'm saying. Like, you release like a wallpaper named a certain way that somebody grabs a file for and puts it on a website for... Mm-hmm. There are a lot of things something has to go through. The idea that some of that could just be a misnomer, a mistake, or whatever.
It could be.
I wouldn't freak out yet.
I don't feel like FanDome, though successful, I don't feel like FanDome has been spectacularly organized in any feasible way. Like, I'm not going to just buy into anything that's just there.
Well,
For all I know, an intern grabbed a thing from the wrong file and threw it up.
Exactly. That's
what I'm saying.
That's my criticism. But when you say spectacularly organized, I actually do want to give them credit for being pretty fucking well organized as an event.
Mm-hmm.
But some of the fine points like that, how something got named, yeah, dude, that could have just been a ball drop somewhere and Zack Snyder director cut or Justice League director cut, whatever.
Yeah.
That don't get too into that interpretation or piece either way right now.
Right.
Give it a fucking minute, as we say.
By the way, I wish they had actually said what this was going to be initially, because I would have listened to it a lot quicker. But Junkie XL previewed part of his Justice League theme at FanDome.
I heard
it
that.
was like something like behind the music or something, and I'm like, it's fine. I don't want to hear a bunch of Hans Zimmer right now. I'm good. So I went on to other things, and then it turned out all it was like a 2-minute bit of him just previewing Justice
just 2
League.
minutes of here's what I have so far, and then him like it was interesting to see. Like it looks like him scrolling through what I think is maybe Pro Tools, or another fucking some of the high end ones. All I don't know, man. The one I'm familiar with at all is Pro Tools. So like going back and forth, like you could see him scrolling through, and there'd just be blocks of files. All right, so blocks of files. Like if you see 6 or 8 files all together, it means you're like reusing the same sound over and over to make it. It's either an original file, like could be a timpani drum that you're using a couple times or whatever, or the chorus that you hear in that song. It was actually really interesting to watch him scroll up and down. Like it sounded great, and he's definitely spent some time on that thing.
I would assume so.
I kind of enjoyed seeing the nuts and bolts a little bit.
But it sounds great. It
would crack me up if later he was like, yeah, that was just like a Green Day song. Okay. You got me. I can't tell watching a fucking WAV file.
I'm like, I do like Dookie. Wonder Woman 1984 has been delayed again. Now it's delayed until Christmas. So, congratulations, guys, gals, everyone listening. I will not be, we won't be reviewing this on opening day for like the first time ever.
I just don't see how it's possible on that actual release date. No. I'll also just be surprised if it's that release date.
Well, yeah, if it's even that release date, but I'm not going to be around for that shit. I got stuff to do on Christmas. My Christmas is all booked up.
I don't have enough time from work to be able to be like, sorry, 2 families worth of people. I just can't make it. I have to do this thing. I just don't have that luxury in my life.
Yeah. And for me, it's like, hey, we're doing Christmas at, 2 different people's houses that are like 100 miles away from each other. And then we come home for a day, and then I'm out of town for like a week with other family. So no,
that's a negative. I would be surprised if it hits for 2 reasons. 1, we'll see where this goes. And 2, that's like a week after, what is it, Dune is supposed to hit?
Yeah, that's... By the way, Dune is one of those things where like I saw the trailer. I've never read the book.
I've seen the original film. I haven't read the book. I
have not seen the original film. I've seen trailers for the original film and thought, oh, hey, there's Patrick Stewart. Anyway, on with my life. I saw a fat guy with boils laughing about spice, and I'm like, I'm good. But,
fair, yeah.
I actually did enjoy the Sci-Fi Channel miniseries and have a copy of that on my wall. But saw the trailer, thought it looked great. Loved the Pink Floyd they used in the trailer. Thought it was really well done. I showed it to my wife. She's like, "Oh, that looks awesome." I'm like, yeah, it does. It will not make money. It's too out there. It's too weird. It doesn't like the original.
Professional analysis will not make money.
Yeah, like if it does, hey, good on you. God bless. I don't believe it'll make money. That's some Jupiter Ascending shit. That's some, Blade Runner 2045, 2049, whatever the hell that was. They don't go, people
49.
don't go in for this shit. I don't know. I've got it on my wall. I haven't read it. I haven't watched it yet.
We're gonna, God, I could be entirely wrong about that and I wouldn't know. I guess we're gonna find out how many people will just go to the theater for a book they've read. That got, I think, a fair take a couple times, but not, the so-called Nolan treatment.
Right. And, the excitement on my timelines are no indication, because the people I follow, my mutuals, man, they're all like me. Like, And they're like, yeah, I'll give some sci-fi, some, random ass sci-fi a chance, People I follow talk about Valerian like it was a good movie.
I have no idea, but I've heard about that corner.
It was not a good movie, but I wanted it to be. It was so pretty and had so much, here's the thing about Valerian. It was not good.
There's an alternate version of this conversation where I say, here's the thing about Hitchhiker's Guide.
Right.
Valerian, it was not a good movie, but it's kind of where it went.
Yeah, Hitchhiker's Guide was not a good movie. I wanted it to be. I wanted it to be. I just legitimately wanted it to be. But yeah, Valerian was not a good movie. I was fine with some of it, but it wasn't good. Like, it was pretty, and I loved the what's the word I'm looking for? I loved the promise of it.
Yeah, that's fair.
I love the idea of it, and
that's a lot of sci-fi. It's just the promise of a world to build.
Right, and the thing about it is I like Luc Besson as a director. Mm-hmm. Even for the movies I don't like of his, like Lucy, I didn't like that movie. I thought it was shit, but it was pretty, and
I guess the trailer looked pretty. The premise, I was out immediately.
Right. The premise was my biggest problem, and the third act was just a mess. But I still wanted him to do well. Like I was still rooting for Luke. So
I get it.
When he was a kid, he was really into the Valerian comics, the old Valerian comics, and I really wanted him. He used his own money to make Valerian, so I really wanted it to be successful because I really wanted to see more stories in that universe from him. And as far as I know, last I heard, he was still planning on doing more. But I would watch more. Mm-hmm. I would probably yawn and roll my eyes before watching it, but I still would try to support that.
But you're still on board, roughly.
I'm still on board. I still like the idea of it. All right, I
get it.
So a lot of original sci-fi is like that for me, where I'm like, yes, I know, I might love it, I might hate it, but God, it would be really cool if this could be. It would be really cool if this Dune, because it looks fantastic. It really does. It looks solid. It would be great if this could be the new Lord of the Rings, and really introduce a new. I say new, but like a new cinematic sci-fi universe that people can enjoy, and they could do Children of Dune and all of the sequels that Herbert did. Yeah. But I doubt it. I don't think it'll happen. But no, I don't believe Wonder Woman 1984 is going to be at Christmas.
All that to say.
I don't.
Just don't know if it's going to be on Christmas.
I don't. And, Patty said her bullshit, and she's like, yeah, we put it in the holiday. No, I don't care. I don't. The third time is the deal breaker for me. I don't give a shit what weird PR horseshit you say about it's gonna whatever. So I don't even know what she said. I read it and just rolled my eyes and moved on. Just like, holiday season, but it's not coming out.
Hold on. I got curious, so I looked up a couple quotes for exactly this purpose. All right, so roughly, you've also seen the thing where it was there's a trend going around right now where people say, yeah, this should have been released in 2019.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, probably. I don't know. I've probably blocked those people. I don't know. I'm so tired.
And to some extent, I do completely get it. On the other hand, the movie was going to be released before, literally before COVID had developed. Mm-hmm. Putting aside any disputes you have with any data we got from China, putting any of that aside,
right?
It is extremely likely that this did not develop until literally after some decisions were made. Mm-hmm. So when it was put that, hey, we should move this November 2019, wasn't that the original?
Yeah.
November 1st, 2019 that's what we're looking for.
No, I think it was October of 2018.
October of 2018?
Yeah.
It'd be
because by Christmas it was supposed to have been November of 2018.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah,
November 2018, and then because by Christmas it will have been in the can for 2 years.
Yeah, that was a fly-by-night date. Also, all right, here's the whole reason I bring this up is the idea that it was in the can, and the only thing I have objection to is the idea that this was just sitting there. They chose not to release it, and part of me is just a little bit annoyed that there isn't some some admission that, look, dude, we didn't know what the hell 2020 had in store for us.
Mm-hmm.
We initially pushing it back to June seemed like an okay idea.
Mm-hmm.
It was never actually gonna. It was just really never gonna work out that way.
Yeah.
But they asked, Charles Roven. We all wanted the date that we are on right now. The studios felt that until their slate for the year before it came together, that they needed to have a big, what I call, aircraft carrier, a tentpole in 2019. Explained initially to Collider. We had a very rushed pre-production because Patty also did the I'm the Night thing with Chris Pine. I'm in parentheses now. And we had a very rushed post-production schedule in order to make the date that we were going on, which was November 1st, 2019. We were doing it because the studio said they really needed it, and then at a certain point they came to us and said, you know what, you guys are right, let's get back to the month and the month that you guys released Wonder Woman 1 and take it, the extra time. Same reason we had when the time came, when everyone was a little more hopeful about, hey, we're going to get this reined in over the summer. We had Super Bowl ads for Wonder Woman. You don't spend that fucking money without some realistic expectations. Super Bowl ads cost money, like millions. So the whole point is, it's a lot to expect that movie to have come out when it did, when at the time, apparently, the concerns were around like the post and pre-production, and that being a little bit rushed in pre-production, and then if it was, then you have to make up for that in post-production. It got pushed back for a reason. What happened afterwards was fucking 2020 and COVID.
Yeah.
That shit got crazy. Like, none of us saw this coming. So now I'm as mad as anybody else that it's coming out in December, which I don't think it will.
I don't either. This shit is like Tom Schiller's Nothing Lasts Forever, man.
They should have picked the same date in June, the same one they were so happy to have deferred to at the time, and released it on video on demand, man. Like, explore a new concept.
Yeah.
Like, the movie made all of the money before. Let it do the same thing. I'm going to rewatch it a few times. I'll be happy to. I'll maybe rent it twice if you don't let me buy it fast enough.
Yep.
There is plenty to explore with actually like a new release platform, but keeping it in the studio movie theater thing like it is, it's just not. Nope.
I mean, fine. Do what you want. I'm telling you though, you release it at Christmas, and this is not fan entitlement. This is me saying I'm an adult with responsibilities. Christmas is the literal worst time for you to put this out for me.
There are Christmas films, and they have made their money for various purposes.
Yes, but even if you're discounting the very real notion that COVID is still going to be around,
yeah. Even if you pretend that crowd control isn't going to be a thing at all, and that nobody's going to be concerned when they just walk into a random theater with a bunch of people, if you took all that to the side,
Tenet
you would still be releasing it right after Dune on Christmas.
Yeah, and Tenet just made $200 million worldwide. Like, it's made like $20 million US. Like, that's shit for a Christopher Nolan movie.
It is not enough.
I do not like Christopher Nolan. I understand. I'm not saying like people, and I'm sure somebody out there has just said, you just shit on Christopher Nolan last week. That's right. But the whole world.
No, I'm sure that's a fuck yourself thing.
Yeah. But the whole world loves Christopher Nolan, though. Like, I disagree with the world. Okay.
I agree with you, but I do also realize that is a choice that we have, not even choice, a decision that we have kind of come to.
Yeah.
He's just not our flavor, man, and it's fine. But a lot of people like this director and his product, and to have put it out and gotten this response is not indicative of the movie itself. It may be fantastic. It may be the movie that when I see it, I think, you know what? I was wrong. I like this guy. I don't fucking know yet. But the reason I don't know yet is because I'm not going to a goddamn theater to see it. Not yet.
Well, you liked Memento, right? Memento?
Yeah, at the time.
At the time, yeah.
I haven't seen it in, oh God, what has it been now?
I don't know.
I haven't seen that movie in 16 years.
I'm just trying to think of something you liked by him other than Dark Knight.
Maybe 17 years.
We liked Batman Begins and Dark Knight, but the third one ruins it in retrospect in a lot of ways for me. But
yeah, that was...
We've done
our share of bitching about that.
I know.
And would, on cue, if someone asked. Again. Until they ask, I guess we'll just table it.
Not only that, I would stand on top of John Delancey and complain about the movie. Literally on cue.
And he would just look up at you. Why?
All right, so who knows, man? Maybe we'll get it then. Maybe after the first of the year, y'all get a a review from us. Maybe we'll have hit it up during a matinee or something, so we wouldn't have to be sitting next to a bunch of coughing assholes who refuse to wear a mask.
Honestly, if it gets released on that schedule, all things according to plan, maybe I get to see it like over New Year's. Maybe, but I doubt it.
Yeah.
Dude, my hair is 8 inches long right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an exaggeration. I can almost donate my hair.
Yeah. Just take a freaking electric razor and cut it short, man.
I have them, but if we're keeping it this way, I have long, voluminous hair. I might as well keep going and donate it.
All right.
There's plenty of it. Point is, I haven't thought it was worth the trouble and the extra risk for me personally to have just bothered going to get a haircut right now.
Mm-hmm.
Why would this be so much different for me? It's not. I'm sorry. I loved the first movie. I really did. And my adoration for Gal Gadot in this role is boundless. Just absolutely boundless.
They released this little, like, and I've heard a lot of shit about it too. They released this advertisement of her beating a guy in the mall, and she grabs him by the leg and holds him up, and then like winks at the camera.
Mm-hmm.
And that wink, I've seen some people being like, "Oh, people are mad about the wink now. That's stupid." Nah, it looks bad. The wink looks cheesy as shit, honestly. And I don't know what the context is, so I'll reserve judgment. But she leaps off, and they're into like the 84 days and to 84, And at this point, though, like anything I'm seeing for it, any advertisement I'm seeing for Wonder Woman 1984, I feel the exact same way I do when I used to see the Batman OnStar commercials, where I'm just like, ooh, and then I go, oh, that shit's not real.
Who was it? Somebody recently had Kevin Conroy as the voice for OnStar, I want to say.
No, it's Waze.
The Waze? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. All right. So, because you thought about it for half a second, and then you're like, "Fuck that! It's a limited time."
Yeah, absolutely.
Because that was my thought pattern. Was like, okay, I've had all these problems with Waze in the past, but maybe I'll. Oh, nope.
I'll deal with a lot of bullshit for Kevin Conroy's voice, but if it's only going to be for a limited time, who cares?
Yeah, similar experience with that.
By the way, did you just hear Kevin Conroy come out and in full Batman voice demand that the Joel Schumacher cut be released for Batman Forever?
No, but bless him.
All right. J. Scotty St. Clair, one of our dear friends and listeners, said, I'd prefer not to see any more Wonder Woman 1984 after the last trailer, but given the delay, an additional trailer may be in the works. However, I'd expect a longer look at Zack Snyder's Justice League to come first and foremost. What do you think about that?
I was curious. Like, I didn't read it that way, but I think another comment did that he wasn't excited about 84. But I also, the way I originally read it was, I'm good here. I'll just see the movie. You don't have to show me anything else. And I'd actually prefer if you didn't.
Yep.
Because even in the DCEU, we've had stuff where it's like, you know what? I would rather have found out about that in the theater.
Actually, I think that might be a reply to another thing he said. Oh, yeah. He said, seeing how we didn't get any new film trailers this time around, not complaining, just an observation, which upcoming property do you think we will see a trailer for next? When might we see it? And what do you want to see included Yeah, I think that was a response to his own text, to his own tweet. God.
No, the answer to what I think we might see next is, for me, the Suicide Squad.
Yeah, that's what I would think. The Suicide Squad seems to be the furthest along.
And I know they've been working on post for that for forever.
I mean, I do think we'll see another Wonder Woman trailer before a proper Suicide Squad trailer. But I think we'll see another Wonder Woman trailer and then probably another Zack Snyder Justice League trailer before we see the Suicide Squad, honestly.
I don't know. To me, I have it the other way around. I think we've seen as much of Wonder Woman as they can show us, without at this point just showing me 5 minutes of the film. At this point, just give me a glimpse of the actual thing. As far as trailers go, the Suicide Squad and Snyder Cut are the heavy favorites for me.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's move on to the Suicide Squad. We got a little bit here. Margot Robbie said that there's an insane Harley Quinn sequence. She says, I don't want to give it away, that she was asked what the toughest scene was to film during the FanDome Q&A. And she says, I don't want to give it away. When you watch the movie, it's probably about halfway through. There's an insane sequence that Harley does, which was one of the most difficult things I've ever shot on screen. And we shot it in like 4 days. And I remember looking at the schedule and being like, oh my God, we're not going to be able to do this. This is going to be impossible. And we did it, but it was hard. And I was beat up by the end of it, like really beat up. But James was actually just texting me before, and he said that scene looks amazing. That whole sequence apparently looks really cool. So when you see the movie, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that feels right.
I'm down, man. I'm excited.
That does. People have spoken volumes about Robbie's stunt work, effectively, or not even stunt work. She has an actual stunt person who should get their own credit. But the amount of work she's put into learning how to physically do these roles is growing to be a bit of legend by itself.
Yeah. Now, this was a bit of news that I wasn't going to include initially, but we've always said, if you guys, being the listeners, wanted us to talk about something and we didn't talk about it, ask us about it and we'll talk about it. And John Hazelton over on Twitter, man, he cut us off at the pass because I wasn't going to talk about this shit, and he just outright axed. He was just like, oh, no, you don't.
What would we have rather avoided?
What are your thoughts on Gunn having Feige visit the set of the Suicide Squad?
Okay, I saw some kerfuffle. What was the kerfuffle? Did you get to look into it?
So
I know we got to visit, but that's really all I know.
Yeah, James Gunn said, I told Kevin Feige before I took the job on the Suicide Squad, and he was very cool and supportive as he always is. James Gunn told a fan, because he was doing like a little Q&A. And he says he just wanted me to make a good movie. He and Lou D'Esposito even came to visit the set and watched us shoot. There isn't the enmity behind the scenes like there is in the fan community. It's just James Gunn pounding that same old drum that, and I agree. I don't know what the fan issue is with it. I know a lot of people are pointing out that just like Jeff Johns, Kevin Feige always wears a ball cap.
You're stepping around as the fan issue. That's the thing. That's the plot thickening.
Look, man, there's more than surmountable evidence that Jeff Johns may have leaked something out to Kevin Feige and about BVS and various other movies Zack Snyder was planning, which may have resulted in certain gigantic $2 billion movies, being made a certain way. Look, man, that's just not going to happen on set, though. Like, James Gunn was making a movie. Kevin Feige was there for a minute. If anything like untoward was happening, James Gunn would have sent Kevin Feige the thing, probably from Jeff Johns' office. I don't give a shit. I don't care. I don't care that Kevin Feige was there.
The two things you're pointing out are, I think, some of the most relevant. One of these things does not necessarily have to be like the other. And two, in some ways, they are substantially not. So Jeff Johns' snake in the grass narrative, which...
Snake in the hat. Is
Making that narrative.
what I keep seeing. And
It's
as a
actually
person who wears a ball cap, I am just thoroughly annoyed by all these people saying, he wears a ball cap. That means he's a... No. I am a balding middle-aged man who very much finds comfort in wearing a hat. Yes, that means I'm hiding something. My hair loss.
I'm a little torn. I have been in a cap for longer than I would have liked in my lifetime. On the other hand, my hair parts the wrong way. I have a villain's part. So I've worn one sometimes when I maybe didn't have to, but I don't know how many times I've ever seen you really without a hat on. Yeah, like that would be, I could see that hitting for you.
Yeah, it's bothersome.
I get it. But even that version of events, which, for our intents, we believe is true based on what we're hearing.
Yeah.
But that is very different from somebody that's as big as Feige visiting the set. Like that's what we're talking about with Jeff Johns is an undocumented event that needs investigation. What we're talking about with Feige is, dude, people had selfies.
Right.
Like those are very different things, and one does not exclude the other.
But, a lot of the people who are having issues with this are the same people who are, furious over the fact that James Gunn was even hired by Warner Brothers in the first place, and they don't want James Gunn.
There's some of that. There's also just some people that don't like the narrative that Johns was involved in a certain way. Like I've even people who believe that Johns was, kind of being a fuck all to some extent, don't believe this part of it. And while that is, I admit the least readily provable part, it still is. Even that is very different from what we saw. Mm-hmm. And proof of one does not exclude proof of the other. It's not. They're not. Parallel events. Mm-hmm. So one of these things is not like the other.
So I don't personally care that Kevin Feige was on the set of the Suicide Squad. I understand he's like best friends with Jeff Johns, and they were college roommates, and they both hung out with Dick Donner, and they, were twin proteges under Dick Donner. I don't care. Kevin Feige, to my knowledge, has never personally done anything that, bothered me.
I mean, granted, we said that about certain individuals months ago, and
That's true. Show me the receipts, as always.
As of now, we have not heard exactly that about Feige, and if so, right. I will happily admit that we've heard new information.
Yeah, and if, you're one of these cats who are just like, Feige does to Marvel the same thing Johns was trying to do to Warner Bros. Hey, look, here's the thing. They have never made any bones about it. The Marvel Universe is shepherded by Kevin Feige. Mm-hmm. All right. Warner Brothers says that they're a, filmmaker's studio. Like they say, oh, the filmmakers are in charge. Bullshit. They lied about that shit. Kevin Feige. They
claim to be auteur driven, but no.
Kevin Feige brings auteur directors in and says, all right, I tell you what to do.
Yeah. And people like Edgar Wright step sideways and say, no, I would rather not. Thank you.
Right. So, I expect a certain thing from Marvel Studios. Like Marvel Studios shoots everything on a green screen and then just kind of completely changes whatever the narrative is of the movie, depending on, committee. It's been proven over and over again.
Yeah.
Warner Brothers and DC has a little bit of, God help them. They tried with Justice League, but that didn't turn out well. They tried to do it that way.
Even parts of BVS.
And they really did that half-assed. So, yeah. Moving along, I don't know what all to say. I don't
One
know.
last disclaimer to say, we're not even mocking what MCU's put out. I've enjoyed the shit out of it. But
yeah, I've enjoyed it. I don't care.
Has it been shot a lot in green screen and developed as they go? Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Is that a bad thing? Not necessarily.
Yeah.
Was it a bad thing to tell us that Warner Brothers was going to be making R2 driven blah, 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 and then giving us what you got instead? Yep, that worked out poorly.
Yes.
Hence the Snyder Cut.
Mm-hmm. Hence.
We all got here for a reason, guys. This was not a fly-by-night operation. There was blood and sweat, man. I mean, not even from us, other people, but
yeah.
Jesus.
So
We're here for a reason.
I've had some blood and sweat there, guy. At the FanDome there, the Shazam Q&A, Sandberg said, I can't really talk about villains or a villain for Shazam Fury of the Gods, but I think a lot of people will be surprised. It's going to be a little unexpected, which tells me it's not going to be Mr. Mind.
Yeah, because that would literally be expected.
That would be literally expected, yes.
Yeah.
I want Mr. Mind.
I was pretty excited about that when I saw it.
I'm very excited about Mr. Mind.
I was a little disappointed to see that revelation. Yeah.
Now, if they did something, if they saved Mr. Mind in Savannah for, the third movie, okay. But I thought they were going to do Black Adam then.
Black Adam is... And actually, Black Adam's... I loved the logo enough. That was one of the shirts I bought. Was a Black Adam shirt. They keep pouncing on this idea that Black Adam is going to kind of rewrite the hierarchy of the universe.
They say that, but
I know, but I'm kind of rooting for it.
Okay.
I know. Shut your face, Dave. I want this. Kind of sounds fun in a way. And of all people to be led by I'm a big fan of Dwayne Johnson. I've loved that guy for 20 years. And on top of that, there are other people you could use. You know who I want for this film, Fury of the Gods? Has nothing to do with the gods, really. Amazo. Sounds fantastic.
Okay.
You can make him do anything.
You sound
equivalent to whatever you need to do.
You sound like a used car salesman as portrayed by Norm Macdonald. Hey. As portrayed by Norm Macdonald, portraying Burt Reynolds. Hey. You want for a Fury of the Gods there? Amazo. All right. He can do anything. Bone ape tit.
I won't try to do that version. I will try to sell it as best I can. Hey, you know what you need for this film? You need Amazo. Who's the by? It doesn't matter. It can be by Mr. Mind. It doesn't matter who it's by. The point is, what do you need him to do? Well, okay. Well, we've got a bunch of leaguers. Leaguers? Fucking leaguers? All you're worried about is leaguers? God damn your leaguers. It's Amazo. I can have... Do you want to be Superman? You can be Superman. You want to be Superman next? You want to be Flash next? Fucking Flash? Okay. Yeah, the guy who can beat him in a race? Fucking Flash now. I don't care. What do you want him to do? Who do you want him to fight? Who do you want? Batman. Okay, well, there's my problem.
My favorite version of Amazo was they were all fighting Amazo and they just kept pouring more Justice Leaguers into it. And then they were like, oh, wait, he's programmed to emulate any Justice Leaguer. And then Superman just disbanded the League, just yelled out, I'm officially disbanding the Justice League. And Amazo was just shut down.
Just defeated by bureaucracy.
It was so dumb, but it made me laugh.
Still, my favorite version of Amazo is just oh, okay. All right. You can mimic any power. Hey, Batman.
No, see, my favorite version of Amazo. My favorite version of Amazo.
He's cool, I've got this under control.
Where you're just we're going to get Amazo. And then it's just a boat on Arrow.
Oh, those were dark days.
You're just oh my God, IFO's got a boat and the boat's called Amazo. That's leading up to something. No, it was just a boat.
No, it's just a boat.
Just a boat. No, it was just a boat.
You remember those were back in the heady days where every time they said Miraglo, every time I was okay, just tell me for sure if we're talking about our man's stuff, because it sure sounds like it a little bit, and then they just don't, and then
Mirakuru?
Okay, no. Yeah,
Mirakuru, yeah.
I always wanted that to be a connection, and just never. No, it died in. Died in processing. That whole desire.
So, back to Shazam Fury of the Gods, which, by the way, every time I read it, I see Furry of the Gods, which is a totally different thing.
Starring Sinbad. Sure, absolutely.
Furry of the Gods. So they were talking about, during the Q&A, talking about having all of them being superheroes, all of the kids now. He says, now they're all superheroes. They're all a family with superpowers. And now we finally get to see that. We only got a glimpse of that in the first movie, so that's something to look forward to. They're leaning into that, and I'm happy. I'm happy about that. Hiram Garcia was talking a little bit about the crossover Showdown with Shazam. He says, we're working closely with DC in terms of what the plan is for how everyone fits together. It's still in the works, but obviously Shazam exists in the Black Adam universe. I like how he says Shazam exists in the Black Adam universe because Shazam didn't come first, asshole. Anyway, I'm
telling you, you keep denying it, but it just sounds a lot like they're trying to make something happen, and I want to root for it.
He says, I could just say that we have very ambitious plans, big ambitions. Sorry. We have very big ambitions for Black Adam and all of the characters that we're introducing. How they're going to connect with the other characters is still all being laid out, but I think fans are going to be happy ultimately with the way we end up guiding it.
But it makes some sense. Like even the Trinity of DC, it was like, okay, well, but in the movies, we're going to downplay the magic part, more of a Greek gods thing, blah, 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 artifacts and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
But with Shazam, you're like, yeah, but magic.
Mm-hmm.
But fucking yeah, but magic. Like one of the things that can actually kick Superman's ass. I'm a little bit excited. I'm kind of rooting for this angle pretty hard. Unabashedly so.
Uh-huh. I mean, I know. I'm down to see it. I'm good. So Garcia told Variety that they are going to start filming sometime in the first quarter of next year with a planned November 2021 release. How's that work?
Yeah, it's about 8 months ahead of schedule, the best I can tell.
I just don't see them turning that around that quick.
That's pretty fucking quick.
I just don't see it. I don't believe
trying
it.
to decide if it was less than a year or that feels about a year fast.
Yeah, did he misspeak? That's my question.
Yeah, I don't even know how you do that. I really don't.
I don't either.
Especially because the shooting itself is going to be staccato, you know? You can't, it's not like everyone can be there at all times. It's going to be impressive if they do it.
Yeah. I mean, if anyone could, it's The Rock. I mean, that dude cranks out like 3 movies a year, but.
And already defeated COVID.
He was like, it was rough. And I'm like, I didn't even see where you had it. Like, you were on Instagram, you were like pumping iron, you were doing your deadlifts and shit. And then like the next day you said, yep, I had COVID and it was a rough couple of weeks. What? Where? Where did that happen?
I just don't think it. All right. You know how you see people that are happy and content in life and you're like, where does that even happen? How does that happen? I don't understand.
Yes.
I feel like it's like that. Where like when he is describing, I had a down period in my life, and you're like, I followed you on Instagram. There was nothing but recipes.
Right.
I get it to some extent. I'm like, I just don't understand why this was a down period. At the same time, for him, it could have just been like, yeah, so I just literally had to voluntarily breathe for 24 hours. Oh, that sounds terrible. I don't know.
Yeah. People
like him, I have trouble qualifying to my own experience as a human for reasons that are like as obvious as the Niagara Falls. Just, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
The fuck is it like to actually do that much work in a day? God damn.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, we are glad that he overcame that, he and his family.
And family, yeah.
Absolutely. Just
I imagine that's the only part I can relate to is the hard part of being like, okay, I feel like I can power through, but watching my kids, you know.
Mm-hmm.
That part would be more relatable for me.
Yeah. All right, so we should go to break, and then when we come back, we've got more movie news, including some Flash stuff, which is
Flashy.
Man, it's
Something.
Stuff.
Something.
Just stuff.
Something. Mm-hmm.
Plus TV news and listener feedback. Does that sound good to you, man?
I mean, I guess I'm aboard.
Okay.
If you're in, I'm in.
All right. Well,
Wonder Twin powers.
You can't hear it, but in the edit, Michael's music's already playing. So
I can hear it.
I know you can. All right. We'll be right back. Dave here to remind you that in preparation for Die Another Day, my wife Bethany and I have been watching every James Bond film, most of them, for the very first time. If you're into 007 or you've always wanted to get into it, check out Breaking Bond on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, and everywhere else, including BreakingBondcast.com. All right, we're back. Got to have me a little freeze pot. That was tasty, and it's kind of hot in my office, so I was glad to have something cool enter my face.
It's only mid-September in Alabama. Wait, cold is still a real appreciated thing.
Yep. As it will be tomorrow when I try to go outside and tackle not my front yard, my backyard. I tackled my front yard last week.
Nice. We filled up the kiddie pool and happily splashed our feet around a little bit. Yesterday. Because it was 91 fucking degrees. Which to me seems like no big deal. And other people just are beside themselves.
Look, man, I grew up in Montgomery. It's like probably anywhere from 5 to 10 degrees higher in Montgomery than it is here. My parents act like
downtown. Downtown's so paved it probably matches you.
Yeah. My parents act like Birmingham is like a winter wonderland. They're like, oh my God, it's only 88 degrees right now.
Yeah. We used to feel that way about like Mentone, which is right outside of like Fairhope. I think. Anyway. Mentone is like the bottom part of the mountains that you can put fake snow on and pretend that it's you're just skiing down a golf hole 8 or whatever the hell it would be. And then if you went to like Nashville or Gatlinburg or something, that was vacationing in a whole new environment. Might as well have been.
Yep.
Like you bought clothes for that.
Oof. Yeah. So anyway. On to the Flash here. So during a Q&A, first of all, I'm sorry. Andy Muschietti was asked what the tone was going to be of his Flash movie. He says, "My Flash will not be light or dark in tone. It's going to have everything. If you saw my previous movies like It and It 2, you'll notice that I like to put everything in it." So I like that kind of non-committal attitude towards tone. I enjoy that. I like having a bit of both. A bit of both.
Yeah.
More like all kind. Anyway, so Barbara Muschietti, I think that's her name. His sister, co-producer, says they asked if she what kind of team up she would like to do, and she says, "Yes, we want more Flash movies, and I would love to see a two-hander." I'm pretty sure that's not what you call it. Okay, so I'm pretty sure I've seen this be referred to as a two-hander now, and a double fister, and both of those things are something entirely different.
I hope they were working together for this moment exactly. To make sure later somebody went, ha 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 ha. I see what you did there.
And it's almost like she knew. She said, "I would love to see a two-hander." That's a movie with 2 stars. Of 2 main characters between the Flash and Wonder Woman. I think they'd be the perfect odd couple, best friends. And I think they could solve a lot of problems in the world with little or no violence, which is always a plus in my book. Yeah, you're talking about a superhero movie there, Toots. That sounds boring. Little to no violence. It's Wonder Woman. She's all about the violence.
This is what she trained for.
Even in the optimistic Patty Jenkins, she's in the middle of no man's land.
Yeah, I get that. Look, If you want to argue, I think part of what you're going to argue from is the idea that it's Wonder Woman and she's about compassion, and that's true.
Yes.
But a lot of Wonder Woman stories start with her offering some sort of suggested route to peace, and then end with her punching a motherfucker.
That's right. Wonder Woman literally beats compassion into people.
Yes, we know, not always, but often, yes.
You know, you're the producer of a superhero movie, all right? Maybe this isn't the time to be like, violence isn't the way. You know, these they're superheroes. They're all about violence. It's like, yes, they're not for violence, but you don't actually want to see them solve the problems through non-violence. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I get it. Some part of me wants to have there be like a little beat before, no matter what happens. And yes, we all know they're gonna. Mm-hmm. There's gonna be some bones thrown, and I'll be happy to watch it and geek out. And
look, man,
even do that thing where like your muscles twitch a little bit when you watch somebody.
Oh, absolutely. You know, I'm a Star Trek guy. I like to see Captain Picard at the diplomats table in the long meeting room table there, where everybody's talking about, diplomatic, stuff.
Wait, not the one that's so long that it's actually kind of condescending. The one that's actually long enough that you can fit everyone in frame.
Right. Yeah, I like to see all that. Everybody's sitting there talking about treaties and stuff. But at the end of the day, I want to see the phaser fight.
Phaser fight is definitely not what I would have. Not a knee-jerk reaction of mine, but I get it.
Right. And, I want to see like them on the bridge, and there's superhero movie, man. That's all I'm saying.
I feel like you're just saying, look, don't discount the point where they punch each other. Just don't. That may be not so much an opportunity as an obligation.
Yeah, the way she describes it, where it's like Flash and Wonder Woman are best friends, and they're like the perfect odd couple, and they're solving problems through nonviolence. That just sounds like it's like Sex in the City, but with Ezra Miller and Gal Gadot, which I would watch, I guess, but
I really would.
They're just solving problems by catcalling and being shitty to people verbally.
Truthfully, the only problem I have is
there's Cheetah. How about we change your spots?
The casting's so good. There's really not any group of two people you wouldn't have brought me that I would be like, yeah, I would watch that movie.
Yeah, I mean, I would watch it, but I'll watch a lot of crap. Ask my wife; she'll just have on some of the weirdest shit, and I'll just wind up sitting in there watching it.
Yeah,
and I'm like, which Disney Channel star is it? Okay.
So what are we doing here? What episode? Okay.
And now I've seen 2 of those Joey King movies, where the Kissing Booth movies.
I guess I've never seen those.
I'm looking forward to the 3rd one. They shot the 2nd and 3rd back to back. I know production things about this thing now. I'm curious to see how this turns out.
Oh, okay. That worries me, but I'm just going to let it ride.
Oh, we're pretty sure she was doing the Kissing Booth 2 and 3 at the same time she was doing that movie where she was she had her head shaved, for whatever it was called, where with the lady where she was pretending to be, I don't know, sick or something. I don't know.
Sure.
There was some
idea.
There was some limited series on Hulu, and I can't remember the name of it now, but she was pretending to be sick, but it was really this woman who her mother was, I think it was Patricia Arquette maybe. Anyway, so we're watching the Kissing Booth 2, and I'm like, girl, look at that wig.
Oh.
Because me and my wife really are I think while we're watching TV, we are what Babs Muschietti wants to see in a Flash Wonder Woman movie. Just who killed the couch kind of comments.
I've been in a room with it. It's fun, but it doesn't mean that on a ride like this, for instance, that you haven't lost me a quarter of the way through. I would like to be on the snowmobile, but it is at the bottom of this mountain, and I'm just tumbling down the rest of it, far from the bottom.
Sounds like me in one of your analogies.
So we meet again.
So here's the big thing though that everyone was talking about with the so she says, well, I want you to go see it, so I'm not going to tell you a lot, but what I will tell you is that the Flash movie is a ride. It's going to be fun and exciting, and there are a lot of DC characters in it. Flash is the superhero of this film because he is the bridge between all of these characters and timelines. And here it comes. In a way, it restarts everything. And doesn't forget anything.
Sounds like the way of a Flash movie.
Right. My point exactly. That's where I was going with that.
Or a Flash product. It's okay. That's not groundbreaking for a Flash thing. Are you okay?
Yeah, and I'm leaving this shit in the show, buddy. I'm leaving this. All right, y'all. Here's a thing that just happened. So, in the break, I was eating my frozen little, what's it called?
I was afraid this is what you were saying.
Yeah,
okay, but okay.
Your little freeze pop. And Jason wanted to know what I was eating, and I told him. And I said he didn't know what I was talking about at first. I sent him a picture. He just messaged me. That looks like a prostate massager.
Just does. I don't know what to tell you.
Oh God. And I just I look at my little ding. I look down. I'm like, that's the message. I don't know what you expected out of me.
I just checked the time and I saw your picture and responded. That was it.
Anyway, yeah.
Didn't mean to derail you.
Look, I would hope that a Flashpoint movie had a ton of DC characters in it. I would expect it to restart everything while not forgetting anything. I'm sorry, Snyder people. I don't know why you're upset or surprised by this. And those are the only people I've seen personally that I've seen complaining about it.
Yeah.
Snyder already said Justice League was part of a separate thing than the DCEU anyway. So,
between that and especially after Flash, we're just gonna have to see where that leaves us.
It's multiverse, man. It's multiverse.
I don't know how connected they will be. I just know that they're going to be connected in some way. And they literally sent Ezra Miller to Vancouver to make that point. So there will be some plausible explanation for whatever we're going through. It feels like at this point, just going to have to wait on it.
Yeah. You know, I hate to be the one that keeps saying this because I just thought that everyone would understand by this point.
I can hear your arms going back and forth.
They were. I keep just... I don't understand. Like, they've said it over and over again. Over and damn over. Multiverse. How does this happen? How's Justice League Theatrical going to fit in with the Snyder cut? It's not. You're going to have two different versions of Ezra Miller. Wah.
There's a lot of like okay, but which one do we back? Honestly, for me, the big disconnect is a lot of people kind of not seeing that. Well, no, it's not that. Like, multiverse doesn't mean we're hopping trains. The one we're hopping off is valid, and the one that we're going on is the most valid now. It just maybe means that both are valid. Yeah, and you don't necessarily have to pick. There is still an instinct for there to be one narrative that we're following, and I get it. I really do, because that is very satisfying. I mean,
we still are.
Yeah, but I don't want to have to sit around, and we just kind of do. Right now, we're kind of waiting to see, all right, what version of events that we've already seen are going to be valid going forward. And I get it. There's some tension there.
Mm-hmm. They're all valid. That's the whole thing, is they're all valid. They are all valid. You know, this way, the Snyder Bros who are angry over Flash showing up in CW's crossover, just say this, the Justice League version, and stop whining. You're good. Who gives a shit? It makes so many of us happy. It's what Jim Lee is pushing. Is, we're supposed to be acknowledging and embracing the multiverse. That's how they're able to say the Snyderverse is happening. Zack Snyder has talked about how there's a multiverse. That's like, God, that's been since what, like issue 123 of The Flash. Like, Flash of Two Worlds, Jay Garrick and Barry Allen. Like, this is, I don't understand how you can call yourself a DC fan and not be familiar with the idea of a multiverse and not be down with it. Like, you're just a whiner as far as I'm concerned.
You can, I still, like, there's an instinct to just, even if you know all of the multiverse of possibilities, it's still an instinct to want to root for, like, this is the story we're telling long term over X amount of years. And yeah, that's an exciting thing.
Just
don't know if it's going to be a real thing right now. Maybe going forward.
Jim Lee is pushing for the multiverse. All right. I cannot help but think there is some sort of end game. No pun intended there.
It was a loaded word choice.
Legitimately. Well, what do you want from me, man? I mean, they chose like the word. I mean,
yeah.
And by the way,
titled the movie a storytelling trope shortcut.
Yeah, and by the way, yeah, they absolutely did. They blew their wad with that one too. So now where are they going? They're going to the multiverse. So guess what? You're not going to have any refuge. Just get ready.
It's going to be complicated, and take it for what it's worth.
You're going to whine that you want a singular superhero narrative, and you're going to go over your Marvel, and you're going to go, oh, wait, that's not what I wanted either, because now they're doing the multiverse too.
Yeah, I mean, even in the context of what we cover, you got a movie as good as the Joker as a result of the multiversal possibility thing. So even just in our sandbox, so to speak, not all bad.
And the way I'm looking at it is like, look, if they can promise something, if they could promise something artistic enough to coax the Bale out of his cave, there's a possibility there. My personal hope is that you'd get Joseph Gordon-Levitt being Batman from that reality to hang out with Affleck and Keaton or whoever in some capacity. But even if they don't ever do that, even if they never do a Crisis, which they'd be damned fools if they didn't do it.
Yeah.
At some point.
Some version. And there's plenty.
Let's move over to Doom Patrol.
TV.
It's got a season 3.
I guess. Yay!
Doom Patrol, season 3. Yay!
That alone was maybe the most exciting part of Saturday.
Yeah, FanDome was
real for anything else.
FanDome was real boring, man. It was legitimately boring as shit.
I didn't get to watch much of it at all.
You didn't miss anything.
A couple hours for me. The problem was, like, I set aside an amount of time after it was supposed to drop, and the servers were kind of having trouble getting me on there. So after an hour and a half, 2 hours passed, and I was still kind of fighting to get on, so I had to bail.
Right.
I popped on a couple times later to watch segments here and there, but didn't really get block time like I was hoping.
Yeah, I didn't have any trouble, and I kind of would have been okay with it if I had. Like, it was real boring. It really was. Like, they kind of blew their load on day one, and even like I kind of like, it was telling to me that they were like dropping news about Doom Patrol and stuff like on Twitter and shit, where I'm like, y'all just saying this in here because you're trying to make it like it's part of FanDome, even though it's not. Okay, I gotta see, because that what you've got left of FanDome is not really interesting, right? It's like Black Lightning, and the cast of Black Lightning plays 90s trivia. What? What? Anyway, what was funny is Patrick Schumacher said, "Congrats to Doom Patrol for season 3, pick up by HBO Max. Stay tuned next week for big." Oh, sorry. He says, "Congrats Doom Patrol. Now do DC Harley Quinn at HBO Max."
Fair, yeah.
And what was funny is HBO Max came out with a tweet that says, reply to this with a show on HBO Max that you've been trying to make a friend stream and tag them. If your reply gets 1 like, they have to stream it. Patrick Schumacher of Harley Quinn retweets that says Harley Quinn, especially season 3, and my friend is named HBO Max. So at the FanDome, the Harley Quinn panel host Shea Serrano asked if a 3rd season was in the works, and if the new Joker's girlfriend Punchline might appear. And supervising producer Jennifer Coyle says the answer is I hope so, and then I personally don't know about Punchline. Justin Halpern said, we want to focus on Harley and Ivy's relationship, and I'm less personally interested if the Joker gets a new girlfriend than I am if just like, let's explore this relationship we've spent 2 seasons building. I feel them on that. I want to see Ivy and Harley's relationship. Punchline. But I would totally love to see Punchline.
Yeah.
For real.
Well, that's the part that's a little bit tearing it. Yeah, I would like to. But that is a really good rebuttal. Let's put it that way. You know what? The only reason you would introduce Punchline is because it's a Joker infestation of her storyline. So yeah, good call. I will accept that if they leave him out.
Now, the thing I accidentally started reading earlier was Jim Lee saying congrats to Doom Patrol for season 3, and then said stay tuned next week for big news about the DC Universe and its exciting future. All right. And our buddy Chris Balga over on World's Finest True Believers podcast, a fantastic show. Go check that out. It says Jim Lee said
I'll be up there next week.
Will you now? We'll see.
For Red Sun.
You guys should definitely go check that out then. You'll get
follow me
twice as much Jason. He
caught me more than I get.
But Chris said, Jim Lee said there will be a big announcement about the DC Universe service and its exciting future this week. What do you hope will be revealed? Honestly, leave old shows like, Wonder Woman shit, Batman 66, that kind of stuff, old Superman, whatever, cartoons. Leave all that stuff up and comics, more comics.
Yeah.
Like, really, like, I would be happy.
Best possible scenario is exactly this.
I would be happy if they put whatever they weren't licensing out to anyone else on DC Universe, and then also had comics and gave us like 3 to 6 months wait time on new comics.
Yeah. And
make it like Marvel Unlimited. I know I'm not supposed to say for DC that I want DC to make anything like Marvel. Whatever. Good God.
No, but it's a.
But you know what? Marvel Unlimited is a fantastic service and
good platform. Well received service.
If I still read Marvel comics, I would use it. But I don't because Marvel comics haven't been good in several years. But I would love some DC comics on that I don't have to wait a year for.
Yeah. And honestly, even the year is an upgrade. They didn't really have an outlet like this before.
No, they didn't. But now I'm used to the year, so 6 months or 3 months, do better than Marvel. I don't give a shit. Please.
Yeah.
You know how quick I'll read friggin' Joker War, or whatever?
I get it. I mean, look, for me, 3 months would be ideal as a stepping stone because it just keeps more and more feeling like DC wants to go digital first, and then does it not feel like there's at least somebody at that table that's pitching the idea that look, why are we even printing these things monthly? Look,
yes.
if it sells well enough, we're going to do a TPB. It's great. We'll do a volume, an omnibus, whatever the hell you want to call it. We're going to put it out for print for sure if it does well enough.
Right. See,
somebody's on board with that, and if it ends up working, then yeah, I hope there's something like DC Universe that I already kind of like the reader, by the way.
Yeah, the reader's great.
Give me that stuff.
And, I would piss everybody off, or at least all of the physical people off, because I would, if I was in charge and the numbers, meted out, I would say, let's just stop with the individual issues. Just stop. Come on. Maybe keep the big ones going, like Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman, but come on, man. This
over and over, doesn't it seem to be the trend is a publisher makes a decision to invest in something. They do so with X amount of titles, and then later X minus Y titles are still there.
Mm-hmm.
Because at some point they're like, well, we're going to have to trim the fat, and that just becomes, some mini series that effectively had no ending that was released 20 years ago that only people at a trivia contest remember the name of off the top of their heads.
Right. This is what I'm saying. Like, I'm not saying you shouldn't make other issues. I'm just saying you should make them all digital, except for like Detective, Batman, Action Comics, Superman, and whatever Wonder Woman's got going on. Maybe Justice League.
Wonder Woman. It's just called Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I mean, and then everything else is just digital first, just digital only, and certain storylines get put out get printed in TPB.
Yeah, I mean,
and that's the end of your day.
There's a part of me that can agree with that. There's another part of me that's like, you know what? It's more than the ones you just named are making their money, or at least breaking even. So we should keep them. Even if you go with the version you just said, eventually it's going to be like, well, but if we did this team up, we could sell it for a while, and then you'll have to have this conversation again.
Oh, no, yeah. I'm not saying they shouldn't have like premium miniseries and stuff from like top tier creators, because they totally should, and have that come out like monthly. I think that's absolutely a thing that should happen.
Black Label's done pretty well,
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that's not, but
couple of failures, but it's done pretty well.
You don't really hear about like the monthly Green Lantern books too much. You don't really hear too much about Aquaman, like you just don't.
Yeah.
Unless there are people are saying, oh, you need to read this Jeff Johns run, or oh, you need to read this, whoever. Like, okay, fair. Like if you've got like, huge maxi series with Tom King,
gets to the surface.
Do it
sometimes, but I mean, yeah, like the Mr. Miracle thing, I would never have thought that wouldn't have put a lot of time into that myself.
I wouldn't either, but Tom King made his bones doing Batman, and now it's like he's untouchable.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, honestly, even while that, I could have had, first issues of all that, just I was just picking up my list every week.
Mm-hmm.
I could have grabbed all of that as it happened and just kind of went, you know what? I don't know how much I care about this character yet. Let's see what happens here.
Right.
And then even 2 months in, it was still like, look, we have copies of one. The reviews are coming back great. And they were all right. It was fantastic. Yeah. But,
and I would love to see what the actual numbers were and see what my thought would be on that, after seeing those numbers. But I don't know. It feels like the companies in some regards are just wanting to keep a lot of titles around in print form on the monthly basis out of tradition. And it's just, I don't think it's worth it, man.
Yeah. Some part of me gets that. The other part wants to fight it. It's,
I'm a physical guy. Like I love Blu-rays. I love physical media sitting on my shelf. Like, you know this. I don't have negative space in my house, as you've said.
Nope. It is a drift of it.
Greg Walker, the showrunner for Titans, says that the third season is more optimistic. He says, this is how the season is going to be different, I think, in a lot of ways. It ultimately ends with them figuring out a way as a team. It ends optimistically. So, yeah, there's that. He says, that's the world we live in right now, especially the way the Titans can be. We kind of beat ourselves up for our past sins. It's nice to be liberated. We have a character named Dove who is going to point in the direction we're going to go. It takes them a long time to follow her advice, ultimately finding a way to get off of the hamster wheel, to stop doing things the way we've always done them and find a new way. And they have to figure that out collectively. So that's, Greg Walker taking the Eric Wallace rule of show running, which is spoil the whole thing up front.
Explain the entire season.
Well, that's the way you've got to do it now. You've known these people and they're getting more and more, like, who are just like, I can't handle a bad ending. Let me know if it works out before I watch it.
I don't know. I've been there at times myself. I get it. It's actually why I get annoyed when I know a bad ending's coming, because I'm like, you know what? I've put time into this. Let me experience that pain for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And then later we can bitch about it together.
I feel like this was Greg Walker, though, like, responding to the last season's ending. Like, all right, I understand you were upset about Donna. Here's the thing. This season will end optimistically.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we have to take everything about the previous seasons and throw it out and cram in optimism, it's going to happen.
I mean, they sent Jason Todd into the ether to come back as,
Red Hood.
an enemy. So, yeah, there's going to be a lot of throwing the last couple of seasons under the bus.
A little bit, yeah.
It's just that he'll be doing the throwing and he'll know which bus line he's throwing them under.
Mm-hmm. Let's talk a little bit about Stargirl. This Stargirl panel. I take it you didn't see that?
I did not.
All right. Well, count your lucky
I only made it
stars.
to like half a dozen things
I understand.
outright.
I don't know what those are, so I have to ask.
As we come upon them, I'll tell you.
Yeah, as we come upon them. And I asked Scott of Squadcast too. I was like, "Did you see the Stargirl thing? I kind of want another opinion." And he was like, "No, I didn't." I'm like, "Okay."
You're going your own here.
So let's talk about first what John said. He did say that we're going to see more of Grundy. He says he's not gone just yet. There's a cool story idea for Grundy coming up.
That's good.
He did say that Eclipso would be very important in season 2. And
Better be.
He did say that when asked if we'd see more of Hootie, Dr. Midnight's owl, he said we'll definitely be talking about Hootie at some point. And, the kids said they wanted to see that pink pen, Jakeem Thunder. Absolutely. Let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's great, but my Lord. So they shot this. They shot this after Ray Fisher had already started coming out.
You're going to speak of the tone deafness of the segment?
Oh, it was awful. It was so awful, Jason. And I would love to hear anyone else's opinions on this. Like I said, we praised the show Stargirl.
Mm-hmm.
All right. But this panel, it was like they were instructed / scripted to they were just heaping, gushing praise all over Jeff Johns.
Oh.
Like all of the cast was talking about how wonderful he was. And I tell you what we wanted. I want to see a Jeff Johns cameo in the next season. He's like, oh, shucks, and they're all like, no, promise me. Oh, you got to be in it. We'll show you in a superhero suit for like 5 seconds and it'll be great. It'll be awesome. We want to see you on set. Oh, we love you so much.
It'd be fun.
Oh, it's the best set. It's so fun. Oh, we love Jeff Johns.
If they sold that idea to everyone as that would be like a really fun, cute thing to do. And we need to prep up Jeff Johns for blah, blah, blah. And hope no one noticed. And then it's actually all true. But the whole plan was that they're going to have him pop up for like a few seconds and kill him.
That would be great.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that all felt really gross and tone deaf and really pissed me off, honestly. Like I was just sitting here going like, they are just out of their minds that they even allowed this to go on.
Yeah.
Like
I heard, I didn't hear anything. I saw some quotes, some bits here and there, and yeah, it sounded about like what you're describing.
Yeah.
Bad?
Yeah. I mean, yay, Eclipso. Cool. Yay, more Grundy, I guess. And what not only that, they were doing the thing where they were like, we're going to look at a clip now from the show. And it's like Stripe fighting Grundy. And like it comes back and like all the kids are like, oh, that's awesome. Oh, I'm like, it's like a month after the show. You've seen this. You've all seen this. You were there for the shots. You were
literally
there.
Might not have seen it.
No, they were there. They were, they were watching. They were definitely watching it while it was playing on TV.
Oh.
This is like a month after it's been aired.
Yeah, there's that.
I mean, I know that they were like, the kid that plays Our Man was talking about how he was just fighting a giant green pickle with a frowny face on it for Grundy. But I mean,
I really enjoyed that scene, and I want that footage so much more now.
Yeah, but it's just so over the top, so hyperbolic, fake horse shit. But yeah, it was just super gross that they were just like heaping all this praise onto Jeff Johns. And I was just like, dude, y'all are just cogs.
It's a young crew. They were probably sold something.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure. All right.
It's might be naivety we're looking back at and thinking, I think they would have a do-over if they could.
Maybe. We'll see. When Jeff gets ousted.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Which, again, yeah, we're still betting on win rather than if on that one.
Oh, I'm saying win, but dude, it's gonna be an uphill climb, I think, because even like part of FanDome, like during the Q&A, like Jim Lee is pimping out Joker War. He's pimping out not Joker War, Three Jokers.
Three Jokers. Yeah.
He's pimping out some other thing that Jeff Johns wrote. Oh yeah, Volume 3 of Batman Earth 1 by Jeff Johns, which is he announced it without announcing it. Like, he didn't give an actual date, but he said he was talking about how that's very close to coming out. So yeah, they've got a lot riding on Jeff Johns and the Johns name. And I think honestly they're just trying to wait until everything they've got comes out and they can sell it, and then finally be like, all right, well, Jeff is going to go his separate way now that we've made our money.
Part of me thinks that's possibly the case, and I feel a little bit dirty for having Three Jokers still on my list. Like, I just, it's been several years now, and I just want to know what's going on with that story.
Well, the big question is Ray Fisher going to be able to get his word out and widespread to actually affect sales in a substantial way?
Yeah.
Because right now, DC
is a moral question for me too.
DC has got like Scott Snyder, Tom King, and Jeff Johns, and that's what's making all their money.
No, I mean there's a few more, but
there's a few more, but those are the top three, man.
Yeah, those are pretty well top tier. But honestly, Snyder's really doing. Snyder's doing some well. I say that he's gonna try to do some creator-owned stuff, and good for him. And I hope he makes all the money he wants to and deserves, frankly. But
he's done it before.
But with having Snyder on their roster at all, to me meant they could have kicked Johns to the curb.
No,
a while back.
No, not yet. He's still making a lot of money for him, but I think that he is.
In terms of like having someone who's that good at the continuity part.
Oh yeah, it's pretty much Snyder's universe now.
There was no lack of talent there. And Snyder and some of the people that have gotten into the same story, that's how I read them, like Tinian or Tiny on the fourth, and Williamson and several others that I'm just not remembering the name of at the moment. But
right.
Other people that I really enjoy.
Yeah.
Point is, we didn't necessarily have to have him right now, Johns.
Yeah. No, we don't. But no, absolutely. I got you.
But,
let's move over to The Flash real quick. The show, The Flash. And our good buddy, Eric Wallace, the showrunner.
Good tell-all Wallace.
Yeah. So at the panel at FanDome, he had said he was talking about what's in store with regards to Godspeed, especially the mystery of their true identity. He says, "I don't like spoilers."
So we know what's coming.
If you guys, if you're new to this show, we've been making fun of Eric Wallace for a few weeks now because he keeps saying he doesn't like spoilers and then just like spoiling the shit out of everything. He says, "I don't like spoilers. Let's just say there was a certain speedster who wore a white costume, whose clones kept showing up."
Good Christ. Yeah, it's
really, Team Flash has to deal with that, but we never caught the real guy or girl. Let's just say we might find out that mystery this season.
I don't know who this could possibly be, but I do have their driver's license and social security number.
Yeah. And then he says, after saying I don't like spoilers, says he's talking about the season 7 teaser that came out 3 weeks ago. And he says, when we had the shutdown happen, as unfortunate as it was, we were on the last day of filming for what would have been the 20th episode of last season, which will now become partially the first episode of season 7. So we do have 85% of the footage that we were able to use. Plus, also, we also knew where we were going early in season 7. So even though it's only footage really from one episode, pay attention to the way it's presented. It's actually huge spoilers all over the place.
Oh, who'd have thought?
Oh, this guy.
Yeah. He certainly seems pleasant enough, but at times he has that air of like a puppy who keeps looking at the food bag. Mm-hmm. What could you be wagging about? Oh, is it that? Okay.
Yeah. I've had friends like this. We're like, hey, have you seen this? Like, no, not yet. I'm going to, though. Okay, well, I'm not going to spoil anything, but just be on the lookout for episode 4. Because in episode 4, son of a bitch,
they reveal that the big to-do about the series is... Okay.
All right, so...
I get it. It's cute, but frustrating.
Mm-hmm. So he also has this to say in Entertainment Weekly about season 7. He says, Joe's storyline this season is inspired by the societal changes happening in today's world, because with everything we're all waking up to each day in 2020, I felt there was a great opportunity here, even within our fantastical family-oriented show, to comment indirectly on truths folks could easily recognize, and do so in an entertaining way. Also, we're working our way through Joe's wonderful storyline this year. Joe gets challenged by the events of the world that are going... did I just say that again? Or was this two different things?
He might have said it twice. He does that sometimes.
All right. So he says they're going to do it in a sci-fi superhero way because we're on a superhero
Definitely
show.
Be your fault. Don't know.
And he really rises up. I'm so proud of the character, and I'm so excited for Jesse to take Joe in just a little bit of a new direction, because Joe's a good man with a good heart. Yeah, we know. We've been watching him for 6 years.
Yeah.
And if he sees injustice, he's not a person who just turns a blind eye to it. He's a person who says something and does something. I'm happy to report that we're working that actually into the scripts right now. It's not in the first batch. It's more in the middle of season 7. It'll be very obvious as Joe goes through these changes and ends up in a place that's unexpected for him, but that is honorable and very aware of today's problems from a law perspective. So it's made the storytelling for his character's storyline, I think, the most exciting thing that I've been able to write for him since I've been the showrunner. So yeah, I guess he's going to let Joe find out that there's police brutality towards black people?
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to incorporate that.
I'm like, do you think Joe wouldn't know that?
It would seem that he hasn't been oblivious to that in either his personal or professional life.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're going to build it.
The way Wallace talks about it, it's like Joe's going to see this and become very aware of it. I'm like, I mean,
does it not sometimes feel like they give him information 4 minutes before he does an interview?
A little bit.
They're like, hey, guess what we're doing next season? And he walks in and his job is to appear as though he knows what was being said beforehand.
Maybe. Based on how he's talking about it, though, I kind of feel like it's going to be tone deaf. I'm not sure it will be, but,
The Flash rarely is, and hopefully this is not going to be an exception. It's possible, but
I miss helping.
I don't want to bet on it. Yeah, I miss helping too sometimes.
I really do. I just, we've got Joe West.
Had more of a mysterious air to it, for sure.
He did. But we've got Joe West, who's a fantastic cop, fantastic father. Dude raised a white kid in his house, has risen to the ranks of captain in a police force. Like, he literally saw this police force, and they even mentioned on the show at some point that, like, they have a captain that's gay, first of all, and then that dude leaves, and now they have a black captain. Okay. Mm-hmm. Are you telling me that through all of that, he didn't see any kind of racial injustice, any kind of profiling? And he's not saying he didn't, but the way he's talking about it is like he didn't know.
It's hard to believe that it's just never come up. So what we're having problems with, I guess, is really just how they're going to retcon that in. But I don't know either.
He's going to go in a little bit of a new direction.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I'm happy it's been brought up at all. I would prefer it to have a an in-house explanation. But I guess if it doesn't, then that's just how it's going to have to be.
Yeah, like, I hope it's not just like, Barry's like, what? This has been going on the whole time? And Joe's like, well, yeah, but I've always turned a blind eye. But now I have a conscience. And I'm going to do what, I don't know.
That would be hard for that character to sell.
I mean, the show under Helping was more subtle. And I think...
Yeah, subtlety was a strong suit for that guy.
Yeah. Wallace can't get through an interview without spoiling a damn thing. So, anyway, so sorry, I don't mean to be such an asshole. I feel like I've been an asshole this episode. I've just been like, FanDome was boring. Eric Wallace is a piece of shit that spoils everything, and it's just I called one of the producers of The Flash toots. That's bad. That's not good.
Our bitchiest episode yet. Who would have thought it was coming this week?
And hey, while we're at it,
I mean, why stop here? What you got?
Carlos Valdez during the DC FanDome event, said he says,
I'm bracing now. Go ahead.
He says Cisco. Talking about Cisco's decision to walk away from his powers. He says, I don't think he regrets the decision, but I think it definitely haunts him. That sounds a lot like regret, buddy.
They can be different.
They can be. He says, I'm actually feeling a lot like Cisco these days because, we'll have a fan we'll see on the street or whatever be like, yo, vibe. I have to imagine Cisco's probably, I know, okay. But, it was such a big decision for him. I feel like the ripple effect, repercussions for that in terms of Cisco's sense of identity. We're still seeing those waves. We're continuing to see those waves in season 7, so I'm just riding the wave. If you mean we're still seeing the waves, I mean, if you mean he talks about going to Atlantis and then leaves for 6 episodes, sure.
Yeah.
I mean, we've barely seen Cisco.
Yeah, I feel like they were trying to give him some time off there. Hey, look, man, you spend 8, 9, 10 months out of your year in a place that's not actually technically your home. I get it.
Oh, I get it. And
eventually you're like, could you just write my character out of this season, for God's sake? I want to watch my children grow.
Right. But we miss your funny Instagram videos with Tom Cavanaugh where you sing and play pranks on each other.
Yes, we do miss those, but no, that's not the most important thing.
Of course it is. What else would be more important?
The ones where those two sing with Joe.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
So,
you cracked it, Gumshoe.
You asked, and I gave you an answer.
Yeah. All right, we're going to talk a little bit about Batwoman here. Carolyn Dries, whatever her name is, over on the FanDome event, said we have 2 major stories as we come into season 2. The first one is, where's Kate? What happened to Kate? Is she alive? Did she die? Is she missing? Is she on the run? Is she held captive? Is she lost? These are all huge mysteries that push us in deep into the season. And all of our characters are going to have different perspectives on that, different conspiracy theories, different points of view, and it will create a lot of drama, tension, mystery, and intrigue. It will be shocking and awesome and amazing, and there's no way that show can live up to all of that. That was my point. Not hers. That last bit was me.
That was editorialized slightly at the last second.
She also says, and then we're obviously just diving into Javicia. We have a new hero rising in Gotham. She's a new character to the world of DC, and she has a lot going against her. She was a girl who was a statistic of injustice the moment she was born. Does Joe know? And the system was not built for this person, and she will constantly battle against the system. All throughout, she's battled through it for her whole life, and she will continue to battle against it as Batwoman. That's good. That's fine. I watched the panel with the actress Javicia, and she seems cool. And they showed a little bit of her fighting and stuff that she sent in. Apparently, they were sold on her flipping giant tires.
Feels like an odd thing for okay.
I mean, yeah, she was just I don't know, doing some CrossFit shit. Like Affleck and BVS, man.
It's always been impressive when people can do that. It's harder than it seems. But
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, whatever. Whatever got you there, guys. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I don't know. It looks impressive. I know, when Batfleck did the CrossFit, a bunch of people were shitting on it because like Batman wouldn't do CrossFit or something. I don't know.
It seems almost
precisely
like something he would go toward, but okay.
As a guy who gets winded going to the bathroom, it looks impressive to me. Shivana Gai will be playing Safiya Sohail, a villain who is apparently coming into season 2. She was teased last year. Mm-hmm. They actually didn't. I guess they teased her, didn't they? In the last episode, but they had already teased the group Many Arms of Death, which she's the leader of. They're a terrorist organization. She's being described as a fiercely protective ruler of a small community on the island of Koryana. A woman with as many enemies as aliases, she is compassionate and charismatic with both physical and psychological prowess. She is beloved by her people and will stop at nothing to protect what's hers. No one goes unnoticed by Safiya, specifically when it comes to those who have encountered the Desert Rose. So, there's that.
That sounds good. I don't have a lot to extrapolate from it.
I mean, she was like in the comics. She and Kate Kane were lovers, and she like tracked down Alice and were drugged Beth to bring the Alice personality back, and there was a whole bunch of stuff going on.
Right.
Yeah, there's a whole lot. So I don't know. I'm curious to see what they're going to do with this season since there's no Kate Kane.
Yeah. The questions you ask up front seem to be the same ones that I want answered. So.
Now a little bit on Superman and Lois. And by the way, that's going to be show run by Todd Helbing. Yay! Todd.
See you again, somebody.
Apparently, this in the show, Clark and Lois go back to Smallville. Like it's going to be set there.
Okay.
And Lana Lang is there, and they're gonna he says, I think it's fun when they go back to Smallville. Lana Lang is there. Lana was Clark's first love, and I think it's an interesting dynamic as an adult, how you deal with that relationship. We don't want Clark ever having an affair on Lois. We don't want Lois and Lana brawling. But what that dynamic is like as an adult is really interesting to us. Those feelings are impossible to ignore.
I'm a little glad they kind of ruled that out. That's always a little bit boring for me.
Yeah.
Love triangles bore me.
And
me as a viewer, I understand that may be my problem, but it's true.
And, I am much more willing to accept Superman snapping Zod's neck than I am him cheating on Lois with Lana Lang.
Absolutely.
Like, you snap all the necks you want, buddy, but you better not kiss Lana.
Cosmic battle and somehow ends in on the spot execution. Mm-hmm. I can get behind that a little bit, but
then again,
Clark Kent disrespecting a woman as a person. No, that's a problem for me.
Then again, multiverse. I was just if we can have an injustice Superman, we can have a skeevy ass Superman who cheats on Lois, I guess. But I'm glad we're not getting him here.
I guess. Whatever the prequel is to Gods and Monsters, I guess. Maybe there. It's
cads and misogynists.
Possibly. Just saying the guy's kind of a douche in the first half of that movie. Maybe he made some bad choices when he was younger.
Mm-hmm. So during the FanDome event, Helbing explained that the Superman and Lois took Crisis as an opportunity for the series to explore a time when things get complicated for Lois and Clark, parenting teenagers. He says, for the fans that watched, at the end of the beginning of the last crossover, Clark and Lois had a little infant boy named Jonathan, and the worlds merged and everything gets rewritten. And the end of the crossover is Lois calling Clark, saying that that he has to get home because there's a problem with the boys. So we took Crisis as an opportunity to really age up and change things for them as parents, age up the boys, and then make them teenagers when things really get complicated for parents. So I think just Crisis in general really gave us an opportunity to start with a blank slate and tell the story in a way that we could not have done otherwise.
Bendis had a similar moment recently, and mixed feelings on that one. As there may be for this too. We'll see.
Well, I don't want to watch a Superman and Lois show where they're dealing with an infant.
Yeah. I get that.
I don't like hearing a kid cry in the Walmart in the distance. I don't want to tune in for it.
No, I mean, there's a lot to love there, but in some ways they're not narratively interesting.
And what
they're
I feel
mostly just doing like visceral functions and crying the entire time.
What's funny is I think this is just like what they're making is White Lightning. It's just, it's like you got two teenage boys instead of two teenage girls. Veteran hero who's tired of being, in Metropolis. He's got a place in the suburbs or, on the farm or what have you. It's going to be Smallville, but with those boys. They're going to have powers. They're going to have powers like their father, and he's going to be running around with them, trying to teach them how to do it right. And then you're going to have Lois, who's probably going to be annoying, just like Lynn is.
No, I mean,
I don't care for
you just
CW
have to
Lois.
call that lightning. You, according to editorial decisions over the years, you only have to use the word black if you're describing a black family. Otherwise, it would just be called lightning.
Right. Well, I don't like that, though. I was always a fan of the White Shadow, for instance.
Yeah.
I think it should be equal.
Naturally.
We could call it Caulk Lightning. If it makes you feel better.
I'm pretty sure, I think White Lightning is like I think it's something you pour down a drain. Anyway. No, that may be Grease Lightning. Anyway. Literally an industrial solvent.
Okay. So,
or there could be the song from Grease. Anyway.
Sometimes I feel so defeated.
I am well and truly done, by the way.
Okay. Just wasn't sure. So Helbing also says that Superman's going to get a new costume. He says originally when you came on for the crossovers, that suit just wasn't built to sustain a series. And I think just in everything that we were talking about earlier, Crisis gave us a fresh slate. Yeah, let's make a new suit. So there's really going to be a badass Superman suit in this show. Now, Steven Podcaster wrote in and said, what do you think of the rumored description of Tyler Hoechlin's new Superman suit? And I don't know this source or anything. So I will say, unless we're asked specifically about it, we don't really talk about these kinds of rumors. But this person is saying that the rumor is he's going to have a collar, he's going to have a bigger S, no straps for the cape. And it's from the same folks who did the Ralph Kingdom Come suit and the Batfleck suit. I don't know how that would work, but I don't care. That's fine. I didn't have a problem with the CW Superman suit like so many people had, though.
I didn't love the straps either, but other than that, it wasn't a big deal for me.
Yeah, I'll say, I liked Hoechlin's Superman suit more than I like the new Supergirl suit.
No, I actually do like that. I'm not sure I agree, but
I mean, well, I'm very partial to the skirt.
Yeah, it has its place.
In the kitchen.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. Yeah, no, I don't like the new suit. I'm not crazy about it. It's fine. It doesn't make me angry or anything. But, I like the old look for Supergirl. I understand why she doesn't want it anymore in real life.
Oh, God, if I was shooting in Canada at certain times wearing that little clothing, Jesus Christ.
Mm-hmm. And, before anyone goes like, oh, Dave just likes to see leg or wants more skin. I don't like the Supergirl suits where she's showing the midriff. That's weird to me.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like there's, I felt like the skirted suit from Supergirl season 1 to what was it, 4 or 5, whatever it was. It didn't show off like a whole lot. It was still like a respectable, length. It wasn't just like, here's the eye candy segment of the CW. Like I never felt like she was being, objectified.
Yeah. I guess I didn't either, but I wasn't looking for that.
Yeah.
If somebody else told me that they felt like the way I'd have a hard time necessarily objecting, but it's not where I went with it.
Yeah, I mean, we can only, speak for ourselves, really. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Out of those first few seasons, honestly, my favorite commentary on the costume outright was when they're like battle training it, and that's why they had the cape.
Yeah.
That was maybe my favorite discussion of the costume until they added pants. Later, like, oh, you want pants? Yeah, I want pants. Sounds good.
That reminds me, it's been a really long time since she used that cape to grab hold of something and yank it.
They did all the damn cape tricks.
They did it like every episode, like 3 times an episode for like 10 episodes. And then it was just like, and you'll never see it again.
No, I feel like there was something in the last couple episodes.
Maybe.
I feel like they brought it back very recently, but I'd have to go back and look to be sure.
Yeah, I feel like ever since sort of like the Flash, every time like I feel like ever since they introduced him running around in a circle and then like projectile lightning bolt, they've done it like 3 times an episode ever since. I'm like, is that your response to everything? And do you microwave burritos at home like that?
I get it. Same time, you learn a new trick. You're like, I want to use this as much as possible.
Right. I want to see the Dragon Ball Z version of the Flash, who he's just like running around and he goes, lightning bolt.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the Street Fighter version. I don't know.
Now I'm imagining like WWF style, his own commentary track. Like obnoxious about it.
Yeah.
To the point that right before they're defeated, the villain just rolls their eyes like, Jesus Christ, this shit.
Oh my God. I saw like one of the funniest videos, like, and I've thought about it for so many years, is someone was like Power Rangers monsters during transformations or something, and it just like it's the Power Rangers like screaming it's morphin' time and screaming the names of their animals and stuff, and then it just like as they're still going, it cuts back to Mr. Bean just looking at his watch in the middle of a field somewhere.
Okay, I ran across this like a few days ago and sent you a link to that.
Did you? Is that you?
Yeah. I'm not sure if you saw that in the wild sometime back, but
it was really funny.
That had me rolling, man.
And it's just like, and they took like the longest possible like series of clips from the Rangers, like morphing, and then like Zordon's like introducing a new Zord, and Tommy's using his little flute thing, and like then he's like showing how and in the show in Power Rangers, like he literally tells them all of that while there's like a giant monster just kind of hanging out. But instead of showing the monster, they just kept cutting back to Mr. Bean looking more and more bored. It was just really funny.
Yeah, he was doing his beaniest to act like he was like setting up for something and then getting more and more like bored and despondent about it not happening. And then finally, when the whole thing's formed, just kind of bicycles out.
Yeah.
Just nopes out of there.
All right, let's get over to Legends. Let's get to Legends. They have cast Liseth Chavez as a new character, Esperanza Spooner Cruz, who will have a unique role in the team's new fight against space aliens.
The Cruz name is, I'm hoping.
What are you hoping?
Lantern.
They didn't say Jessica Cruz.
I know. I'm just saying the Cruz surname.
It says, tough and self-sufficient, Spooner Cruz lives off the grid, devising ingenious tech for the detection of and defense against space aliens. And while some might call her paranoid, she calls it being prepared. A survivor of a childhood alien encounter, Spooner now believes she has the ability to communicate telepathically with aliens, making her the perfect recruit for Wave Rider captains Sarah Lance, Ava Sharp, and the Legends, who, in Season 6, will be hunting down extraterrestrials who have been displaced throughout history.
Never mind. Theory blown.
She is a young Latinx woman from Texas who...
Maybe not.
I don't
know. We'll see.
Who was kidnapped by aliens and has kind of a thirst for vengeance, said Grain Godfrey, the producer. during the FanDome panel. And so she's going to come up with the ship, and, she's not going to be the lovable losers that we normally have. She's going to be someone who is pretty tough and gives it to the other legends, and they're going to all have to react to her, and I think it's going to throw them off their feet a little bit.
Okay. I mean, still an outside possibility that, we'll see. Mm-hmm. I doubt it, but...
Outside possibility that she's some sort of ancestor or something.
I mean, experiments with alien tech.
Yeah.
Apparently, her has a slightly indomitable will, if you will.
So we don't talk about this one much, but over to Pennyworth, they had a little FanDome panel over there, and apparently Martha Kane is going to be pregnant in the upcoming season.
I did see that.
Everyone was talking about baby Batman now, but I don't know, man. It's Pennyworth. It might not be. It might not be him. Mm-hmm. Might be Thomas Jr. Might be a little bit of Owlman.
Show's gonna crack me up in the last episode if he suits up as Batman. Fuck it, Alfred's Batman now. Deal with it.
Yeah, I don't think you will be, but yeah, I still need to catch up on Pennyworth. I haven't seen season 1 yet.
No, it's a gap in my schedule too.
Mm-hmm. Did you see they announced that Young Justice was going to be called Young Justice Phantoms?
I did not.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
I don't know.
Or is that all they said?
That's all they said.
Well, shit.
We don't know if it's going to be on the HBO Max, if it's going to be on DC Universe. I don't know.
That's actually maybe more interesting than the title.
Mm-hmm.
Good with Phantoms. You can do a lot with Phantoms.
Yeah. Batman Gotham Knights. You want to talk about that for a second? They, Sorry.
What happened here?
I'm a little tired.
You good? Bracing? Okay. I thought we were going to be like, whew, well, they canceled the game.
No.
They lost all the code, Toy Story 3-esque. And, bailed on the entire thing. Good luck, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the gameplay trailer.
No, so the creative director, Patrick Redding, they were talking about how they've got, in the trailers and stuff, we've seen multiple costumes for everyone. And the subject of DLC content came up, and he says, I know it's weird to hear this, because it seems unusual at this point, but we are shipping the game with a lot of that content. And
Fantastic.
We really are focused so much on the game that people will buy and making sure that it gives them a big range in terms of looks, in terms of abilities, in terms of character opportunities. So yeah, it's not something that's only going to be available to people on DLC. That's for sure.
There's a good chance that, what was it, $60 was the price point for a new game last time me and you were playing them?
Yeah, $60-$70, something like that.
Yeah, you're right. It was a little heavy. All right, so $60-$70. Mm-hmm. I would pay twice that if you told me, no, for real, we don't have DLC planned. It'll be 4 years and then like a Game of the Year edition before, even 2 years in Game of the Year edition before you see any new content that we don't have planned. This is our best foot forward, and these are our other feet as well. Yeah, I would pay double almost for that, maybe.
I would pay double if they said there will be DLC from time to time, but you won't have to pay for it.
That too. Yeah.
Because there was a point where we were it was like probably more than weekly that we were buying those Xbox cards so that we could just get new Injustice DLCs.
Yeah. Yeah.
We've come to the end of the news. Let's get to some listener feedback before we wrap it up. Mm-hmm. Rob at Bob78741 on Twitter says, is it supposed to be pronounced FanDome or FanDome? Well, FanDome.
I think FanDome.
It's spelled D-O-M-E. Everyone on the FanDome video said FanDome.
I want to follow you there, but what I did not hear in the intro was a welcome to FanDome. I get it.
I didn't see an intro. I just, all the people who talk in between every individual effing panel.
Mm-hmm. I heard FanDome a lot too. Just, the word itself could have been fandom.
Yeah.
Or pronounced that way.
Could have been.
I don't think it is.
Chris Balga, again, of World's Finest True Believers. Mm-hmm. What do you think about Jim Lee putting the final nail in 5G's coffin? Jim Lee basically said 5G is not a thing that's happening.
He very much said, don't worry about it. It's not coming your way.
Yeah. And what do I think about it? I think it's fantastic. I thought 5G was a bad idea in the first place.
I agree. It's too early, too much. This is one of the Didio exit Fallout things, I think. Yeah, perk. That's a pretty good word for it.
I was not excited about it because it was like, oh, it's the next reboot where it turns out that Batman and Superman are going to be like 70 years old and they were hanging out with the Justice Society and the first generation. It's a bunch of bullshit. Yeah, that doesn't sound interesting to me at all. It sounds really frustrating.
I saw a really good breakdown of what was supposedly a leak of a picture kind of thing and thought, and yeah, like this is squarely in the Reddit is not a fucking source category of things. But
well, you know, Jim Lee was trying to play it off like, oh, it was a possibility, blah, 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 blah. No, you had shit planned. You had stuff in marketing for first generation. Like,
yeah, there was
this was happening until Didio
there were balls
left.
in motion.
This was happening until Didio was gone.
Yeah.
And it seems like all of you were against it, but Didio was like, no, it's happening. And so you guys got rid of Didio.
And said, I'm sorry they got in your way. Scott, what were you planning on again? Okay, cool.
Yeah.
How many more books do you need to make that happen? Twice as many? Cool. Great.
By the way, man, all the Dark Knights Metals figures that McFarlane is coming out with. Holy shit, it looks good. Oh, my God.
On the page, it looks fantastic. Oh, the story. God damn, that story.
Yeah.
So good.
At the earliest convenience, I'm going to have a Grim Knight on my desk.
I don't blame you.
Anyway.
I'd rather you read the story at some point, too.
I will get to it. Hopefully, DC Universe will start putting it out in digital so I can read it.
A lot of it should be. I think a lot of that should be by now.
Maybe.
Even that one shot for him.
Maybe.
I suspect it's been over a year since I read that thing.
Well, I'll just need to get a checklist together and figure out what I'm supposed to be doing.
I got all kinds of those. I know. You'll have fun though. It'll be good.
I know. All right. I read the Wikipedia. All right.
Oh, the stuff now.
I mean, I've read spoilers on that too. So if I'm unless I just wrote this wrong, Chris Baga also asked, looking at both DC FanDome days, what aspects of the event do you want them to keep, and what do you want for them to change / improve about it? Could you see them moving this to a paid event, and if so, how much should they charge? I want better coordination, so they release big news at FanDome instead of like 2 or 3 days before.
Yeah.
Like Batfleck coming back, Michael Keaton being official, all that shit that came out like 2 days before FanDome. That was horseshit. That should have been stuff that happened at FanDome, you know?
It would have been really nice, yeah. And especially being able to charge for that. One of the things that I would suggest is a lot of what I saw on day one was not even a lot. It was all pre-produced content. It was basically an 8-hour movie. 8-hour hype movie. And a lot of that really was fun and super enjoyable and honestly informative, and some of it even news. But being able to bounce around in the meantime, like between segments, or even while a segment's kind of wrapping up and you're like, yeah, I get it, and I'm going to go over here and spend 3 minutes in this little thing and dive around, which was the original intent. Yeah. But I feel like they added a ton both ways, and that was great for certain things. But yeah, the only thing is, like, just being someone who can't sit and stare at something for 8 hours without an insane amount of effort. That was a lot of effort for me. Yeah. A little bit of bouncing around and would have been fun. But I don't know. That would have helped me out a lot.
Yeah, I'm glad they changed it to 2 days at the last minute. Yeah. But honestly, like, the second day was so boring.
Keeping it movie, TV, comics both times maybe is a thing to experiment with.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like I loved the on-demand aspect of it. So I don't want to ever see this 8-hour movie thing again, ever. That
was a legitimate, I don't know. That was hard for me to do.
I never want to deal with that again. I don't want to deal with a schedule. This is an online event. I should be able
the
to
schedule
access.
was at least less stressful. I didn't have to worry about what I was getting in and out of.
Absolutely.
Turn it on.
The other thing, though, is, on the second day, stuff that I actually cared about was, like, buried. Like, the Flash stuff about, like, the movie Flash stuff, the Q&A, was, like, buried on the second tab way down the line. Like, near the bottom of the page. So a lot of that kind of stuff was kind of just, like Patty Jenkins Q&As and stuff. Like, I had spent hours being bored out of my mind, with stupid shit that didn't mean anything, didn't have anything, announced. And then I'm like, oh, well, okay, here's this thing that I would have been way more excited about, and if I was still half awake. So
were I conscious, I might have been in.
I think if next time, and I think there will definitely be a next time.
Numbers look good, especially for the first one.
The numbers were great for the first one. I don't know about this one. I haven't looked into it, but I think they should do it on a 3-day weekend, like we just had.
The one that just snuck in there.
Yeah, the one that they did, they literally did it on the opposite sides of, like, oh, we're going to do FanDome, 3-day weekend, and then another FanDome.
Yeah, it's hard to fit stuff into 3-day weekends, though. Same reason we were talking about before. Like,
why?
You get a holiday of any kind, even 3-day weekend, and it's physically difficult to fit stuff in. There's stuff you're expected to do with, the family. It's barbecue or whatever the hell it is.
Mm-hmm. But
it's a lot.
But if they did it, like, make it available at 12 p.m. on a Friday and then extend it to 12 p.m. on a Tuesday, you got like a stretch period there.
So you know how, like, Black Fridays kind of become Cyber Monday? Mm-hmm. Maybe something like that.
Yeah, I say, like,
like, over the weekend, here, park yourself here from time to time. Over the weekend, we're going to give you this and that and whatever. Mm-hmm. And come, but by X time, Sunday night or Monday, it's all available. Do whatever you want. Go crazy. And the news has already hit the airwaves anyway.
Because they had, like,
airwaves.
little games and shit, and, like, kids can learn how to make Green Lantern origami and, all sorts of shit.
I tried to play through that Joker game once, and it kind of failed on me. I had some real troubles.
Yeah, and I think some of this was, like, for as successful as it was, a lot of it was half-baked. And I would like to see them do it without corona restrictions. I would like to see them really do it where they're, like, controlling their news, like, because they had to film it in advance. And then like, even though they could do, like, go live, I'm assuming they should be able to go live. They didn't do any of that. So you just have, like, them, like, telling people, like, dropping some news on Twitter here and there and saying it's part of FanDome, even though it's not on the FanDome page or anything. And then
it's going to be tempting for them, though, to try to put their success into the old format a little bit. Like, well, we should hold an event. Maybe you should. Maybe we just learned from what you actually did that was successful.
Yeah. 3 weeks ago, they did, we got a bunch of great news that dropped, and they should have just had, like, an addendum with a live feed saying, hey, Ben Affleck's back. Like, don't drop that shit early. Don't. Tell us at FanDome where we all care. Like,
the one thing with Affleck that looking back, I've thought is, like, he had a tiny little, his own little piece of the Zoom introduction. Mm-hmm. He was technically a part of it. And afterward, if there'd been no mention, well, all the various sources and bloggers or whatever you want to call it would have gone crazy. And if they couldn't coordinate it in the present, meaning they couldn't actually have him come online to talk about it or do it in Zoom or whatever the hell they were going to do, and they knew that they couldn't have it ready to go so that going past the event that, that they already had the news ready, like, getting out in front of it and having it hit it was Hollywood Reporter. It was wasn't it? Or Variety. It was one of the, the major reliable sources that came out with it, I thought.
Yeah, I don't remember which one it was.
But either way, by the time the actual event happened and you saw a snippet of Ben Affleck, it already had some context and it wasn't so loaded.
Right.
I'll give it that. I'll give it that as a moment.
Yeah.
as a reason to possibly usurp that.
No, but I legitimately don't think they should charge anything. Have ads, have sponsors, have better merch. Keep your prints. That's fine, but I want cheaper posters. Like, man, I would have loved to have had that Jim Lee FanDome, the Batman poster, like on like a $10 poster, as opposed to like a $20 8x10 or $150 framed. I don't know. I'm not doing that shit.
Yeah, there was.
Give me a $10 poster that I can like roll up or like just put in a cheap frame and put on my wall. You know how much more I would have spent if there was a little more variety in the products?
Yeah.
Because I would have spent a whole lot more money. I'm sick. I have a problem. I want less bullshit games. I don't want any more of this Black Lightning cast does 90s trivia horse shit. Like, that's boring. It just is.
That was probably more Zoom than anything else.
I was talking to Matt Carroll, and he was just like, he's like, that's some Jimmy Fallon shit. Like, yep.
You didn't watch the any late night during the writer's strike? Hell, man. I mean, shit got weird.
Yeah, I stopped watching. I didn't watch it before. I was okay with like the weird DVD extras, where it was just like, hey, we don't have an actual thing here, so let's just put on an extra from Justice League Doom. But I didn't have necessarily a problem with that. What I did have a problem with was their little like Bob Kane documentary from like that was clearly made before everyone was like, oh hey, Bill Finger, let's give him credit too, because it was just all about how Bob Kane was just like this wonderful guy who loved to help people and like he hated the idea of anyone being in poverty and stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, everybody except for the guy that actually created Batman. Like, this is tone deaf as shit these days. Yeah.
Or I mean, even Siegel and Schuster, like,
right?
Relative or abject poverty, depending on your definition.
Anyway, so yeah, I've got a lot of like FanDome was fun on that first day for sure, and it had its highlights in the second day, but good lord, there was it was boring this last time.
You know what it had though that really is above and beyond anything else? It's like being able to actually have a real time experience. COVID aside, being able to have a real-time experience with other people without having to actually do the thing that's almost impossible to do, which is get up and all go to a city together and make that thing happen real time.
That was nice.
That was. I really enjoyed that part.
So yeah, there are pros and cons. I'm not trying to be an entitled asshole fan. Like, I know. But yeah, it was a little rough this time. Sorry.
Some stuff played better with one method than it does with the other.
So Steven Podcaster asks us, will you guys be joining us for the hashtag Henry Cavill Superman campaign part 2 on November 7th? He says, myself and at We Want Superman started a campaign for Henry Cavill Superman. First round was September 7th, where we got around 46,000 on trending. The aim is to show AT&T and WB that we still want Henry in the Cape, and for them to let us know his status. We're going for our second round on November 7th. Well, I've now given you a plug.
Seems like the only requisite is to mention something positive when the time comes about a character and a portrayal that I already like. So not hard to commit to for me.
Yeah, sure. I feel good about this because what's happened is I've said something on the show about it and given you guys a plug, because chances are I will not remember on November 7th to pay attention to any of that.
So your ass is covered.
So I tried. People who listen to this show know I have a shitty memory. I've got the old Sam Beckett Swiss cheese memory thing going on. So like usually I will like get off work, come home, and around 1 a.m. I'll look at Twitter and realize I missed a thing and went, oh boy.
Yeah.
In true Sam Beckett fashion. I don't know why I'm suddenly like channeling Quantum Leap, but
no, I'm into it. I'm good.
I love Quantum Leap, so.
Oh, it's delightful.
I have it all on Blu-ray. Did you know?
85% chance Ziggy says it's good to go. Don't worry about it.
Matthew Salvatore at Pure Genius Lego. By the way, he just put up a genius version of the Batman trailer, but made in Lego that he animated, and it's fantastic. Go check that out.
I want to know where he keeps his time machine that he got that done.
I don't know, man, because he's like Johnny on the spot, retweeting our shit, like, and commenting on everybody else. So I don't know what he's doing. Yeah, I can't keep that. Dude, like, what pills are you taking? Let me know. I need him. I need him.
It is beyond my capabilities.
Yeah, let me know what you're doing, and because I damn sure know it ain't the power of prayer. I've been doing that for years.
Contact information. Yeah.
But Matthew says, if you had to guess, what do you think the Riddler's motivations are in the Batman? The No More Lies is intriguing.
I assume the corruption of Gotham. I haven't thought about it much, but it's just such a corrupt city. I just would work backwards from there.
Yeah, I know that the official line is that Paul Dano is playing the Riddler, but I think it's Ray Fisher under that mask. The guy under the tape is Joss Whedon, I'm pretty sure, or Jeff Johns.
Yeah, I thought it'd be the other way around. Yeah.
No More Lies. I don't know. I think his motivations are for truth to happen instead of lies. I'm just being a dick. I don't know. Yeah, corruption. Your standard everyday corruption.
Yeah. I mean, you get the feeling it's going to be, I hate to sound boring with this, but it's really just, like I said, you'd walk backwards from this. It's Gotham.
Mm-hmm.
It's always been shitty, how many good men after all that, whatnot.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm going to stick with that and see where that gets me.
Yeah, every time someone says, this is Gotham, I don't think of the show Gotham like I should, because they said that every episode.
Mm-hmm.
What I think is that first episode of Batman 66, when High Diddle Riddle, man, when Gordon is like, is there any man here who has the answer, who can do the thing? And all those cops just stand there and then like drop their heads.
Just hang their heads solemnly.
And he's like, that's what I thought. And like walks over to the bat phone. I think that might be my favorite scene in all of Batman.
It's a cartoon of a version, but it's still just deadly accurate.
Yeah. Anyway, J. Scotty St. Clair says, seeing as how we didn't get any new film trailers this time around. Oh, wait, we've already said this on the show.
Yeah, that was earlier.
Yeah, this was earlier. Well, I think that we're done.
Okay.
I think that we're done.
Quite a change. Okay.
I thought we had another question. We don't.
Nope. It's late. Let's call it.
All right. Well, thanks for listening.
And being here at this point.
Yeah. Until next time.
3 hours in, as we sometimes are.
Until next time. Keep some DC on your screen.
Bye.
Our intro music is by Jason Goss and Michael Shackelford. Michael's band, Galactic Engineers of Magnetic Sounds, or GEMS, can be found on SoundCloud and Bandcamp. Visit DCOnScreen.com to find our Patreon, merch, contact information, and every episode of the show for free, including crossovers we've done with other podcasts. DC On Screen is a maladjusted production. For more from me and Jason, including sketch comedy, vlogs, parodies, and our improvised web series Hey Guy, visit maladjusted.tv.